You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night Angry Marks Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am show producer Killa Kev, filling in for Stevie J this evening since he is taking some well-earned time off. Also, kind of filling in for Abby Arthur. She is also taking some time off tonight. So with half a crew down, we gotta do something special. And we're gonna do something special tonight because, ladies and gentlemen, this episode right here is the 500th episode of the Thursday Night Angry Marks podcast. And helping me celebrate this tonight, we've got our regular co-host on the line with us, the great Sudoku. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, and I have not been suspended by the WWE for any wellness policy violations.
Have you been suspended by the WWE?
No, that would be Bob Backlund, the Orville Redenbacher of the WWE.
Indeed, indeed. Also joining us on the line tonight to help us celebrate this 500th episode, an Angry Marks original, the Joyzy Girl himself. Listen to me, wow.
Really?
That goes in the edit bin immediately.
I apparently grew a dick.
Absolutely. So, give me just a second to recompose. And also joining us on the line to help celebrate the 500th anniversary of the Angry Marks podcast, the original Joyzy Girl herself, Danny D'Adamo.
Hello, everyone. I like how I grew a dick, apparently, but that's okay. I mean, my balls are as big as grapefruits anyway. That's cool.
Indeed. And hopefully we'll have a few other people joining us on the line here in just a little bit as well. But we're going to kick things off here. Miss Danny D'Adamo.
Yes.
500 episodes ago, it was you and me and Stevie J and the great sneaker pimp himself, Frank Vaughn, who kicked this all off.
Yes.
Give us some fond memories of what it was like back then.
Well, we didn't have there wasn't so many wrestling podcasts that there are now.
Yeah.
I think that we were the ones that essentially started off that whole big trend, and now look at it. I mean, you have Cole Cabana's podcast, you have Talk is Jericho, you have Hell in a Cell Radio, you have,
everybody's got to have a podcast now.
Yeah, I think Eric Bischoff has a podcast now.
I think the Mulkey brothers have a podcast now.
Yeah, Ric Flair, I think, does one. Piper did one, but unfortunately, shoot.
You know, I can't think of how many wrestlers that we've interviewed over the years.
Yeah.
Who came on here first. Some of them their first podcast ever. Now running their own podcasts.
Yep. So I hope they still realize where they came from.
Indeed. So
yes.
I'm very proud of the heritage that we've started here. We've spawned lots of episodes, not just of Thursday Night AMP, but you know, we run a whole slate of shows almost every night of the week. We've got more people contacting us every day asking, hey, can we get on the network? Here's my show. Will you please listen to my demo? Please listen to my demo. I just got, matter of fact, just 5 minutes before we went on an air, one of our former hosts, and shows, Rob Dickin, announcing his comeback. So So we're gonna put something together new for Rob as well. So I'm, very proud of the legacy that we started in internet podcastery.
Yeah.
Fuck it, fail. Moving on. Boy, there's a phrase I've not pulled out of the bucket in years. So Danny, what are you up to these days?
Well, right now, nothing. It's summer break for me. I go back to work September 6th. I'm a teacher assistant for Jersey City Public Schools. I'm no longer doing wrestling photography, as I just got burnt out by it.
What a coincidence. I'm not doing wrestling photography anymore either.
Yeah, I just got burnt out. I will admit I haven't, I still watch wrestling from here and there, but it's like, I'm just not into it as I once was. And I think unfortunately it had to do with heartbreak in my life, and as well as when you're going to a show every week and working, essentially, it just took the fun out of it. So I kind of took a step back from the whole wrestling thing and just try to enjoy it as much as I can. I regularly go to this one promotion in South New Jersey called On Point Wrestling, which if you have not checked it out, you should, and you should emotionally invest in the On Point experience. They definitely are up and coming, and in fact, the promoter for that particular federation, his name is Matt Tremont, who is the Combat Zone Wrestling champion. He's also putting together a South Jersey WrestleFest 2, which will have various promotions there, as well as obviously matches and autograph signings and whatnot. That happens in October. But yeah, I'm pretty much laying low, if I really have to say, about the whole independent wrestling thing.
Well, that's cool.
Or wrestling in general. I still watch it on Mondays. I still get information, especially about the various suspensions that have happened, especially concerning Paige, because everyone knows my love for Paige. But I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that, definitely going on. So you're keeping up with WWE Raw somewhat.
For the most part, yes. Raw, SmackDown. I pretty much don't agree that they split the brands again, but what can you do? But no, yeah, I pretty much try to keep up to date with WWE because, unfortunately, I don't have the channels on my cable provider to watch TNA Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan or Lucha Underground. So, unfortunately, my viewership is only for WWE, and that's because Comcast doesn't want to get those networks, or Comcast has those networks and I just don't want to pay the money. So,
Well, alrighty. So, with that said, Great Sudoku, talk a few minutes about what you're doing these days. What have you been up to? How was your weekend?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was asking.
I think he means for you to start talking about what you're up to.
What have I been up to? I've been watching just a shitload of New Japan Pro Wrestling with the G1 Climax, which was amazing. I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. That's taken up a bunch of my time. I have a milestone birthday coming up on Monday, which I'm not quite looking forward to, but that's been going on. And yeah, you were talking about like the originals with Angry Marks, and yeah, Angry Marks was one of the first two podcasts of any type, wrestling or otherwise, that I listened to, the other one being the WrestleCrap podcast. So the first two podcasts I did listen to were both wrestling related, but yeah, I remember it was Kev, it was Nikes the Sneaker Pimp, and DJ Complejo when I first started listening way back in the day, and then I came on Angry Marks at one point. I can't even remember the year, and I kind of fell off, and then I came back again. So this is kind of my second run with Angry Marks and covering a lot of the Japanese stuff that I like, and a lot of the Cruiserweight Classic. I got to watch that last night, which was a lot of fun.
I missed Cruiserweight Classic last night because I've been binge watching Wentworth, so I'll probably watch Cruiserweight Classic after we do this.
Well, you may get spoilers beforehand.
That's fine.
You may get the spoilers.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because I'm not too sure, is Drew Gulak still part of the Cruiserweight Classic, or was he eliminated?
Are you familiar with that, Kev? Well, let me take a look at the bracket.
I don't remember, honestly. It's been more than a week or two, so my memory is gone.
Yes. Your memory.
The best thing that came out of this week's Cruiserweight Classic is that mini Rainbow Sheamus is finally fucking gone.
Aww.
God, it just... Oh, I hated watching him. What was the guy's name you were talking about?
Drew Gulak.
Yes, let me find him. He lost to Zack Sabre Jr., although I don't think that's been announced yet. So there you go.
Oh, okay. So he's no longer involved. Okay.
Okay, he lost first round to Zack Sabre Jr., didn't he?
No, he beat Harv Sierra or somebody.
Oh, okay, he beat Harv Shearer. Okay. Yeah,
So he's in the second round.
Yeah, spoilers. It's like I looked, I just happened to go on Wikipedia, which shows results that haven't aired yet, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cause that's all pre-recorded already, so. Alright.
So, spoilers.
Sorry, Danny.
It's okay.
Alright, speaking of spoilers, we're gonna call Mr. Frank Vaughn right now.
Should we be playing the calling music? Oh, that's Jeopardy.
No, I muted that on my end, so I don't have to deal with that annoying shit.
Oh.
Speaking of annoying shits, do we have Frank Vaughn on the line?
Yes, we do.
Hi, Frank. That opinion's not from me. I don't think you're annoying shit.
Well, I appreciate knowing that.
Joining us live on the Rhine right now, the other original Angry Marks podcaster himself, the sneak-up pimp himself, Mr. Frank Vaughn. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. When Kevin told me that it was the 500th episode of the AMP podcast, I had to call in and make my voice heard. Thanks for having me here tonight.
Well, thank you for being able to join us. We might have a few other people joining us on the line a little bit later. I won't spoil who, because if they don't show up, I don't want them to feel bad for not being able to make it. So,
Can I shake an angry fist at them?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, I ended up kind of throwing this all together at the very last minute because my original plans didn't come through, and, I hate to say it, I've just been busy and I dropped the ball on it.
Yep, I was about to say that you dropped the ball.
But that's okay.
So that means you have to be suspended then.
Well, if I get suspended for 30 days, this network's dead in the water. Because Stevie J's going to be like, there's no way I can...
the AMP wellness policy.
Yes!
Yeah, I mean, if you drop me off the line, everybody's going to get suspended because everybody's going to be on all kinds of drugs and alcohol trying to hold this ship together.
We're going to party like 1985.
Listen, and honestly, that's true. Kevin's been the backbone of this network for so long that I'm not sure what would happen if you weren't here, brother.
If we lose Kevin, it's just like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, because
no more Angry Marks at work, we're done.
Stevie might be able to get 1 or 2 shows on the air a week, but, he's not going to be able to get every show on the air every week, so... Yeah.
Steve will probably pull his hair out of his head.
Yeah. Where is Steve?
He is taking the night off.
Steve,
oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, Steve had to take the night off. He spent the last 5 days doing interviews leading up to UFC, 202 now?
202.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has spent the whole week covering that, doing interviews all day, all night. He's burnt. He needs a break because the show's tomorrow night, so.
Okay. Now, just for my benefit, Kev, who all's on the line? I heard another voice a second ago.
We also have with us the Great Sudoku.
Okay.
Howdy.
Hello.
How's it going, Frank?
Awesome. Glad to be here. So, I kind of walked in on this late, and listen, fashionably late is not really my style. It just circumstance kind of dictated that. So, yeah, I know.
I'm calling bull on that.
It's not really my style, honestly. So, somebody catch me up. What are we talking about?
Well, we were just passing the ball around of our reflections on the start of the Angry Marks Podcast Network. So that leads us to you, Mr. Frank Vaughn. Share with us some of your memories of those golden years when we got started.
Well, way back, and I guess it was 2005, Steve and Kevin both came to me and said, hey, we're doing this thing, and we're wondering if you've got some time to come in and give some thoughts on professional wrestling. And I was like, sure, why not? So we just started powwowing around microphones, and next thing you know, it turned into a thing, and now here we are, 11 years later, and it's a full-blown network.
I didn't think it was 11
I remember I think the original crew was me, Steve, Kevin, and Danny D'Adamo, right?
That's correct.
I would like to think so.
Right. So
I didn't think it was 11 years ago. It was 11 years ago.
And we made some hellified shows. I mean, it was a great ride.
I think it was 10 years ago, just a little short of 10 years. I don't think it was 11 yet. Now I gotta go look.
Yeah,
go look.
That doesn't sound right. I'm sorry.
I mean, 10 years, 11 years, we're some of us are a little shorter on brain cells. Me, guilty.
I thought it was 2005. I could be wrong, but...
Well, we may have started talking about it in 2005.
Maybe.
Well, I know, Kev, you and I started talking about it back when ISCO was still a thing, so...
I remember we were talking about it when Disco Inferno was still a thing. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Oh, no, you know what? Yeah, it was around 2005, 2006, because the boyfriend I had at the time was kind of annoyed that I was doing a podcast and he wasn't involved. Well, I remember that. Yeah. But
okay, turns out I might not be crazy after all.
Okay. Original.
He's out of the pitch. He's out of the picture, and there's a new guy now. So.
All right. Original episode was November 26, 2006.
Okay.
Okay. I was off by a year. That's fine.
It was right around Thanksgiving, because I didn't go to Allenbury then yet. So.
Now, is that when we started doing the Turducken Awards, or when did we start doing that, Kev?
That was a couple years later, I think. I think we were a couple years in.
I was not around for the Turducken Awards.
Okay. All right. So we got kicked off in the fall of 2006. And now, just for my part in all of this, for me, a landmark thing, and I'm going to be the one to go ahead and bring this up, was the Chris Benoit thing. And we did a show, I think it was you and I, Kev, that did a show after the whole Chris Benoit thing where we just kind of poured out our thoughts on the deal. And it was kind of an emotional time, as I remember.
Yeah, it really was. That whole incident just really shocked us. Just the announcement that the whole family was just dead, shocked us. And then the news that it ended up being a murder-suicide, that rocked us all hard. And after that, we took some time off. After that, we didn't do podcasts for a couple weeks. We finally came back together. We did a show just to talk about it. And then we took some time off.
Yeah. And the show that we did to talk about it was kind of, momentous in my mind anyway, not just because of the topic, but it was also one of those rare moments where we cut out all the bullshit, all the comedy, all the, smack talk about what's going on in wrestling, and we got real. I mean, like really real. Not that we ever really did the kayfabe thing on this network anyway, but we just dropped the whole shtick and just went straight at this issue and just poured out our raw emotions on it.
Yeah, let's see. I think that episode, I don't have the episode number here, but I'm pretty sure that was probably right around September of 2008. And then we didn't pick up another episode again until January 1, 2009.
Yeah, so, and then I know in 2012, 2013, again, listen, my brain is Swiss cheese, so if I get the dates not exactly right, forgive me, but I know we did a 5-year retrospective on that whole thing where we went back over it again and talked about not only what happened and sort of reliving our feelings and our memories from it, but we also talked about the way that it shaped the wrestling industry going forward.
Yeah.
And there's really no mistake to be made here. I mean, that event really changed the landscape of the business forever.
It did. It really did. And maybe hopefully a little bit for the better because, it introduced finally the infamous wellness policy and WWE started, trying to take a little bit more responsibility for what happened to wrestlers under contract. And then they started taking responsibility for wrestlers who are no longer under contract.
Yeah, and the mid-2000s were a rough time for the industry. I mean, we had Eddie died in 2005, and then the Benoit thing happened in, I believe, 2007. And it really, things needed to change. We had the steroid scandal back in the 90s, but obviously nothing happened to change after that, but something had to change. And I mean, really kind of one of the outgrowths of that was the phenomenal and monolithic rise of one John Cena.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to quit with the Attitude Era stuff. We had to quit with the bra and panty matches. We had to quit with a lot of the, TVMA stuff that they were doing. And a lot of that helped usher in the PG era, which Cena, was really the most obvious example of thriving in that format.
Yep. I can't disagree with that.
But it also appears to be with this whole wellness policy, especially what has happened this past week, it just seems to be that is the start of becoming future endeavored. I mean, WWE is not high on Alberto Del Rio anyway.
Mm-hmm. And
apparently I understand Paige is not that great to work with in the back, and she can be a little bit of a quote-unquote diva, what I understand. And the only one that I'm surprised about, I'm not really going to say surprised, would have to be Eva Marie. I am not a fan of Eva Marie. I'm going to tell you that straight off the bat. I am not a fan of hers. But I am a fan of what she is doing. She's using all that heel heat that she got from NXT with the whole you can't wrestle and whatever, and how you should go back to porn. I don't even remember if she did porn. Anyway, to basically now use that same heel heat to now on SmackDown and thinking of the stupidest reasons to not get into the ring. It's working for her. I'm not a fan of hers, but the gimmick, what she's doing, is a fan of hers. But here's another thing. It just looks very strange and peculiar that since WWE is not that high on Alberto Del Rio and Paige, that Paige has a birthday party on Tuesday, and then they're all tested on Wednesday, and they're suspended. That just makes.
Do they? I haven't read the news. I haven't read the news reports on why they popped. Did they release what they were popped for? Or
Alberto Del Rio, cocaine is what I heard.
What I'm hearing is Paige's 24th birthday was Tuesday. Paige apparently had a birthday party. Apparently at this birthday party they were partying like it's 1985 and were passing around cocaine. Alberto Del Rio got busted for cocaine. Same thing with Paige, and I also think same for Eva Marie. But the thing is, though, is that did they know that they were going to get tested on Wednesday? Or was it just like, oh, by the way, so it's like if they didn't know, and that's another thing. You know that you're part of a company that does random drug testing.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest.
Wouldn't you try to make sure you keep your quote-unquote nose clean?
No pun intended, right?
This actually expands outside of wrestling. I mean, because we've had some real issues in UFC lately too. So,
yeah.
Honest to God, I just want to send out an all points message to anyone who might be involved in any kind of combat sport, whether it's kayfabe or not. They drug test, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what else to say about that. If you're in
the wellness policy is part of your contract. You know what you can use. You know what you can't. So,
well, here's the scuttlebutt that I've been hearing, from backstage. Basically, Danny already pointed it out. Paige is kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass to work with. Triple H is not a fan of Alberto Del Rio because he also thinks Del Rio is a pain in the ass to work with. And apparently just last week, Del Rio went over Triple H's head to get something involved with his character or storyline approved, and that kind of pissed Triple H off just a little bit. At the same time, though, Alberto Del Rio is on a 1-year contract, and he's reportedly not happy, mostly with Triple H, and is kind of made this decision that he's not going to renew his contract anyway. So really, for Alberto Del Rio, what's the downside to any of this? I mean, they're not going to be able to, even if they suspend him for the rest of the year, he's still got a contract they have to pay him out on.
Yep.
And after the shit he went through with dealing with the racism claims, for just 2 years ago, and everything WWE did to get him back, everything is just golden for him, period. I mean, the worst thing that could really happen to him is they just suspend him for the rest of the year, and they still have to pay his contract, and he sits at home until the contract expires, and then he goes right back to Lucha Underground.
Yeah, is that where he was?
Here's the problem for Paige, though. See, Paige thinks that he's going to take her with him. Paige thinks that because he's okay, she's going to be okay. And I think, and I don't really have anything factual to base this on other than 35 years of watching wrestling, but I think she's probably going to find out sooner or later how not as thick she's going to find out very soon that she's not as valuable to him as she once thought she was. That's what I think. I think she's going to get left in the dirt on this.
Yeah, but also think of the other wrestling couple that are in WWE. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. Brie left the company simply because of the fact for Daniel, because Daniel can't get into the ring again, because if he does, he's going to be paralyzed, and she wants a family and whatnot. And then look what happened. Daniel Bryan is back on SmackDown. He's a general manager, and he's also a commentator for the Cruiserweight Classic. So it's like, I am all for quote unquote standing by your man, but the whole thing is that it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And it's the type of thing where Brie didn't get what she wanted. Paige is not going to get what she wants, whatever the heck that is. But she's also 24 years of age. Mm-hmm. So who's to say that she can't go back to Shimmer or become a Woman of Honor
or go to Lucha Underground. She's getting so lost in the shuffle because the women's division there is so deep at WWE right now. I think she'd actually be doing herself a favor to go to an indie, to where she can be a big fish in a little pond, because right now she's a little fish in a big pond and just getting lost in the shuffle.
Or worst case scenario, she can go back to England, she can wrestle for her mom's promotion, that's all good.
Yeah.
She's a 2-time WWE Women's/Divas champion, so she's got some street cred there.
Yeah, so.
But if she thinks that she's going to get over by standing by Alberto Del Rio, she's sadly mistaken, because that just has failure written all over it. It does.
Right.
Yeah, if they're not actually married, then there's no actual guarantee.
Yeah, not everybody can be Triple H and Stephanie, okay?
Yeah, or Macho Man.
Wait. Let's back that up for just a second. You're right. You can't be Triple H and Stephanie, but do you know the undertone of the whole draft that happened?
How's that?
The whole undertone of the draft was basically to stop all the workplace romances that were going on. Think about it. Alberto Del Rio's on SmackDown. Paige is on Raw. Zack Ryder's on SmackDown. Emma's on Raw. Let me think. Who else? Dana Brooke is on Raw with Charlotte. Dolph Ziggler's on SmackDown. So yeah, Stephanie doesn't like the whole workplace romances bit. But look at her. She married a wrestler. So it's good for me that I married a wrestler, but it's not okay for you guys.
And she screwed over another wrestler in the process to get there.
Yep.
Right. So, do as I say, not as I did.
Exactly.
Well, when you're the boss, you can do that, though, right?
Yep.
So, I don't get this wellness thing. Cocaine? We're not even talking like you can explain, well, I had a tainted supplement. It's not cocaine.
Yeah.
How in the world did you think you were going to get away with that? And honestly, if I'm Vince McMahon or I'm Triple H or I'm Stephanie and I know there's a big-ass party going on,
right,
I'm going to test them the next day. I don't care who it is, because that's how you catch people. Okay.
I'd say I'd say there was
the
probably...
wellness policy was created for two reasons. One, it was created so that Vince could cover his ass in case something like Benoit ever happened again. Okay?
Right.
But then the second reason, I truly believe on some level they did want to clean up that industry. I really do. And so when you have, when you're dipping the net in the water, sooner or later you're going to catch something.
Right.
All right? And if you're stupid enough to go to a party and sniff cocaine, especially if you're already on the boss's shit list anyway, you can go ahead and count on needing to piss in a cup the next day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was somebody there at that party that stool pigeoned them.
And I wouldn't even put it past the McMahon family to have set him up like that. Not necessarily set him up with cocaine, but to set him up to be caught for doing it.
This afternoon, WWE posted on Facebook an article discussing who the biggest movers and shakers on SmackDown are. I posted in response, I think this week you got to give it to the Candyman.
Right. So, yeah, I think that about covers wellness policy.
Yes.
Hey, you want to add somebody else to the party here real quick?
No!
Sure.
Alrighty, because it is almost time, I believe, for Mr. Jordan Garber to join us for his weekly contribution, so we will try to get him right in here. If I can remember which phone number was which. He's got so many I've got like 24 numbers for him now. I think this is it.
Well, Kev, actually this would be the perfect time to bring Jordan in because I've actually got to step out now, but I did want to step in and say hi to everybody and relive a couple of the old memories.
Alrighty. Well, Frank, thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you stopping by. Have a good evening.
I have like 2 minutes, guys. I'm in an area I don't even know right now, so I got to figure it out. I have 2 minutes though.
Jordan, what's going on?
I'm literally getting a new place on South End, Winnipeg, and I don't know where I am. So I can hang around for plugs and everything, but I kind of got to be at this place in 9 minutes. It's an 8-minute walk, and I don't know where I am. This is like Winnipeg's a big city, and like I've never been in this area before, and I don't even know where I am. But
you have a GPS?
Just another. I do have a GPS. That's why That's why I only have a limited amount of time on here.
Bum, bum, bum. Where in the world is Jordan Garber now?
Actually, an hour. Technically, where I am is I'm an hour away from North Dakota. This neighborhood's an hour away from North Dakota. That's technically where I am. So somewhere in Manitoba.
Somewhere in Manitoba, Canada.
Somewhere near the outskirts of Winnipeg in Manitoba, Canada.
So, Jordan,
nowhere to be seen.
Since we've only got you for a few minutes, we'll drill down to some quick things. First of all, this is the 500th episode of the Thursday Night Angry Marks Podcast Network. Just give us your reflections on your time with the network here, both as a listener, as a fan, and as a contributor.
Wow, you know what? It's been such a long time I've been with Angry Marks. It's been 2 years, and I remember every show I've been on, I had the best time ever. And you know what? Angry Marks is a site that gave me my start with professional wrestling media. And you know what? I have nothing but good things to say about you guys and for working with you guys. Honestly, an honor to be on the 500th episode. Funny enough, I'm on the 500th episode when I'm lost in the middle of nowhere in Winnipeg, but hey, it still counts, and I'm so glad that I got to be on today.
Indeed. So you're getting a new place, we hear.
I am getting a new place because the place where I'm staying at is is a douchebag. I hate that guy. We don't want to talk about him on the 500th episode because I have nothing but I want to say positive things today, but it's time for a change, and that's what I'm doing.
And you're not going to take it anymore?
Yep. And my GPS is going on at the same time. But honestly, guys, thank you so much for having me on the 500th episode. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, Jordan, we will get back with you next week then.
Sounds great. Follow me on Twitter at Jordan J. Garber. And remember, the 500th episode of Angry Marks, Jordan Garber is on, and I'm going to be on many more. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks again, Jordan. Appreciate it. Jordan Garber, ladies and gentlemen, where you can hear him here, you can hear him on VOC Nation. You can't get enough of Jordan Garber, let me tell you. So, that said, why don't we actually get into some more current wrestling talk? We've got SummerSlam coming up this Sunday.
Ooh, goody.
So, I must admit, I have not paid a lot of attention to WWE. I'm
just looking down this card, it makes me want to start doing some coke.
Yeah, so just starting from the bottom here with listings appearing on Wikipedia, which of course, is no indication of what the actual match order is going to be. But we'll start all the way down at the bottom of this list. We've got Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya and Alexis Bliss in a 2-on-3 handicap match.
Versus Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and suspended.
It
was going to be a 6-woman tag team match, but Ava Marie Pornhub went and got herself suspended.
Maybe WWE Vacant will come and take the spot.
What's God doing? Can we get him booked for another show one night only?
The higher power.
So it's Carmella, Becky Lynch, and who?
Naomi
versus Dana
Natty by Nature and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, Natalya Neidhart. Although, here's some interesting news that just came out this afternoon. Nikki Bella has been cleared to wrestle again.
So since Eva Marie got canceled. She got deleted, apparently. Since Eva Marie got deleted.
Sister Nero.
Yes.
I
knew you'd come.
I would not be surprised if they pulled that out.
Since Eva Marie got suspended, what makes me think that Nikki Bella is going to be showing up at SummerSlam now?
I don't know. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like she's not going to be there anyway because John Cena's going to be there.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
That's kind of the heel team, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be either way because Nikki was a heel for a good chunk of her career, but she left the company with babyface cheers.
Exactly. Yeah, she'd really have to do something in coming back to get over as a heel. They'd have to give her a mic or have her attack somebody backstage or just pull something because you're not going to be able to drop her directly into a heel tag team. That's kind of the problem. There's not really anybody heel you could bring up from NXT because they kind of already did that. They kind of rated NXT of all their female heel talent already.
I feel so bad for Asuka.
Well,
Asuka's amazing.
They've got Lita.
I am a big Asuka fan, and I cannot wait for Asuka versus Bayley too at NXT Takeover. But I was glad that Bayley only did that one-time thing at the last pay-per-view because if Bayley essentially got called up, Asuka has no one. Absolutely no one. She's just there like, hello, I'm just going to go chill with Nakamura for a little bit.
Pretty much.
Well, they could, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. I mean, Lita's still there.
But Lita will not get into the ring again. She's another one that has neck issues.
They brought back Alundra Blaze, aka Medusa Michelli. Why not throw her in there too?
Yeah.
I mean, there's other people they could pull up from NXT. Hey, call Eva Bates.
There you go, Blue Pants.
Oh yeah, Blue Pants. Yeah.
She's not doing much of anything.
Yeah, true. It's just Becky Lynch, as far as I'm concerned, is the Jericho of the women's division because, in all intents and purposes, she's being used to basically get people over. That's what Jericho does now. Even though,
Except she's not an annoying little piece of shit like Jericho, and she's actually entertaining to watch, and she's not over the hill and slow like Jericho.
She does need a little bit more mic work, I'm gonna say that. But, if you notice, that's all that she's been used for, is she's the quote-unquote Jericho of the women's division. She's in a program now, well, she was in a program, because we now know what's not going to happen for 30 days. She was in a program with Eva Marie to put her over. She was in a program with Natalya to bring her back and put her over. She was in a program with Charlotte to, let me guess, put her over. Because Charlotte, and no disrespect to her father, Charlotte's not that great. Charlotte is not that good, and she definitely should not have the belt. But anyway, in any event.
So who's gonna go over in this match?
I personally would like to see Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi go over.
I think probably what we will see is Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi go over, and I'm gonna say it right now. it would not surprise me if they decide to have Natalya just decide to walk off and say, fuck it, I am done with this, and just leave Alexa Bliss hang out to dry.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I would love that. But yeah, I'm going with the faces too. As green as Carmella is, and it's like, oh my god, did she lose a step or 3 or 5 after Enzo and Cass kind of parted ways with her and got called up? But
well, she's another one. Isn't Carmella allegedly dating Big Cass?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard that, but who knows? I cannot keep up with wrestler relationships anymore.
Well, you should.
I mean, it still amazes. I'm still blown away by the fact that Mickie James and Magnus got married and had a kid.
I know.
I mean, it's like, dang it, Mickie James married, kid. She was just a kid herself, like last week. It's been 20 years, but I swear it was yesterday. So, let's see. Moving on in the card here, we've got Cesaro and Sheamus and a first match in a best-of-7 series.
Oh, fucking Christ. That means I've got to see Sheamus 6 more fucking times. I've got nothing against best-of-7 series matches. I've got nothing against Cesaro in a best-of-7 series matches. It worked well with Booker T and Benoit back in the day, both on Nitro and in the WWE. But Sheamus, we just got done seeing mini Rainbow Sheamus, and that was enough. Now we've got to see the genuine article, not once, not twice, not even 3 times, but possibly 7 fucking times. A minimum of 4, a maximum of 7. And the 7 series also worked really well for Colt Cabana and Adam Pearce.
But does that work here? That's going to be the interesting question. And are they going to do these 7 matches in like the next 5 or 6 weeks, or are we going to stretch this out over 7 pay-per-views?
That would be tough. I don't see WWE with that kind of patience to do that slow burn and do it over a series of 7 months. I see them, doing it on Raw every week. It's like, okay, it's a new week. We're getting another match out of the way, and it'll be done in like 2 months or so.
Could they start it here and then do a couple matches on Raw and SmackDown and then finish it up on the next pay-per-view?
I don't think they're able to. I think they blow their wad too quickly, and they're not able to do that slow burn. I think once they've got it started, they're just going to push ahead full force with it and not look at the long term and just say, yeah, we want to get this over and done with.
Yeah, I mean, my gut feeling on it as well is going to be they're going to try to do their damnedest to make this real interesting, but I think by the 3rd match they're just going to lose their patience, which may be unfortunate. See any
kind of program getting drawn out for it. It's just kind of a throwaway, unfortunately.
What do you think, Danny?
With Cesaro versus Sheamus, I will probably go to the bathroom during part of that match. I am not a fan of Sheamus. I personally think that Sheamus should be repackaged and be placed with Finn Balor and do like the Celtic Demons or something. I'm not too sure.
You see, I wish there was just a black hole that you could throw Sheamus, Jack Gallagher, and what's his name, Katz's shitty Naka Greenhorn into.
You don't like Nakamura?
No, I like Nakamura, and I'm talking about Katsuhika Nakajima.
Oh, I have no idea who that is.
He was a guy from Noah who came into the G1 tournament, and he's kind of like Katsuyori Shibata Light. And when you have the real Katsuyori Shibata, and then you have to watch Shibata Light, it's just not very entertaining.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
All right, so
like a black hole, just throw them all in there.
Yeah.
So who are we going to pick in this match?
Cesaro.
I'll go with Cesaro too. We'll make it a clean sweep there.
Yep.
So
if Sheamus tears a quad, I won't shed any tears.
Yeah, Cesaro is good. Cesaro's good on the mic and he's good in the ring, and he really should be. He's underrated. He really should be pushed more than what he is.
He should, and they really need to get away from that James Bond stripper, lifeguard, whatever the hell gimmick he has.
That's the King of Wrestling gimmick that he was in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That's the Claudio Castagnoli gimmick.
He's moved up now. It's time for something bigger and better.
Nah.
There you
go. Hello, when CM Punk was there, he did Straight Edge Society when he started.
That's true. Hey, we're going to put this discussion on hold for just a second because we've got another person joining us on the line. Long time no talk from another goddess of the network, Sierra.
Hello.
Wow, how have you been?
I've been, what's a perfect adjective for this? Maybe all over the place?
There you go. All right, there you go. Well, you just missed Frank Vaughn a few minutes ago.
I know. Why is it that Emmy and Ivory cannot reunite? We always miss each other. What is that?
It was magic in a bottle, was it not? But also joining us on the line tonight, we've got the great Sudoku.
Hey, Sierra.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, just talking about how I want Sheamus to fall into a black hole.
I've been wanting that for a long time, but it's just never happened.
Sheamus and Jack Gallagher and Katsuhiko Nakajima, they can all fall into a black hole, and I'd be very happy.
I'd rather keep Gallagher, but the other ones can go.
Also joining us on the line tonight is the original goddess of the Angry Marks Podcast Network, Danny D'Adamo.
How you doing, Sierra?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're not going to go into the whole how you doing.
How you doing?
Even though where Enzo is from is about 20 minutes from me. So I could do the gimmick because.
Well, shoot, I'm having a bigger dilemma when it comes to, Enzo. Is he Bay material?
I don't know. He could.
I mean, he has a strange kind of style, but at least he'll be dressed nice.
Yeah, that's true. But
we'll figure that out one day.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Sierra, we've been asking everybody as we get him on the show here. We are on the 500th episode of Thursday Night AMP. Just give some of your thoughts and reflections on back when you got started with the network.
Oh man, so many. When I first got started, I had the most awkward situation, as if you can tell my face, because it's like, whew, why did you guys let me on air in the first place? I remember when I called in to ring the bell, and I had my bullshit list.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I called in. I didn't think you guys were going to let me call in again, because I was thinking this is the first time ever, and this will be the last time too. But you guys brought me on Ring the Bell, and I got comfy there. That was my home. And then when I finally came on to AMP, it was just like, wow, like, I'm with the big boys now. I got to do a lot of fun things at Angry Marks. I got to be a part of a women's show. I got to write. I got to be a co-host of several different shows, especially during times of the week, and got to meet a lot of different personalities, Tenzai, who's just the wackiest of the wackiest.
Is he not? I said, is he not?
I really thought we had the wackiest when I first came to the site with Quintastic One and Chess Army and all those guys. I thought that was wacky, but man, he's on a whole nother level of wacky. And see, when Frank and I did the show together, I remember being so nervous how that show was going to go, because I had never spoke to Frank when I first came. Frank was gone. And we created magic with that show. And then when I got to work with Stevie, I remember the first couple times I was on AMP, I used to get on Peter H. about his Canadianness so much. And that's still a thing to this day. So, I mean, Peter, if you ever try me, But then again, we all might need to come up there one day. You never know. But, you're still Canadian, dude.
Yep. There.
No love lost there.
Absolutely. So, what are you up to today, Sierra?
Well, first of all, I'm taking a break from writing. As anybody remembers, I cover women's wrestling, and I just got in a funk and I hit writer's block, which is like the worst thing ever if you're a writer to hit that. And writer's block and I was having a standoff, and we just came to terms that, this relationship is not working. And we just need to take a break from each other. And I needed to take a break from it. And I've been on pretty much like hiatus for maybe a month or two from writing.
Where did you used to write?
Well, I started covering women's wrestling here on Angry Marks, and then when I stepped down from the site, I started covering over at Pro Wrestling Ponderings, which I'm still at to this day, and I host a couple podcasts over there. I help host a newscast on Monday nights, and then also I started my own podcast over there, which is, got probably the bitchiest name, and I feel like it's so Angry Marks inspired because it's Bitch Musings.
Well, that's like my blog that started off as wrestling and just other things, and it's a Joyzy way of thinking. And I was like, so yeah, I can understand the angry title for the Angry Marks for things.
Yeah, I host that show with Jennifer Lodgson over at Pro Wrestling Ponderings, and we were going back and forth about, like, what could we call it? And I was just like, well, I don't want any, cheesy, girly names, make it obvious that it's two women here. When they listen to it, they're going to tell that it's two women, And she was just like, what about Bitch Music? I was just like, gosh, that is just really just rubber stamping it right there. Like, letting them know it's just going to be just us just going at it. And I feel like that fits the podcast so much more, even though we're not necessarily angry, but for me, it feels like I'm coming back to my Angry Marks territory where it's just like, it's a free form event, say what I like, what I dislike, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I want to say, even though I haven't been at the site for such a long time, Angry Marks is still a part of me. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you probably see when I go off my tangents and my rants.
My Twitter name is Joyzy Danny, JoySeydani. If you want to check it out.
Mhm. So I go off on my rants and tangents, and I've been told, I think it was like a couple months ago, somebody was just like, "Gosh, you still have that Angry Marks," and I was just like, "Yeah, what you get in, you can't get rid of it." But man, sometimes it's just like, I miss home,
Well, you can always come back whenever you want.
I know, but it's like, then we were all kind of like connected at the hip, and now everybody's just like everywhere. It's just so crazy. Like, because I didn't want to step down at that time, but due to personal situations and things that was going on, I had to. Because if I didn't, it would have been selfish to you guys and been selfish to everybody that listens, and I'm not a selfish person. So I put that there, and I've been on a couple times since I've been gone.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed that. It's not been like, like I've been kidnapped or anything.
This is true. So we were just discussing SummerSlam here, and the first matches on the card was the 6-on-6 women's match that's now been downgraded to a 3-on-2 handicap match. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, well, first of all, when they announced this tag team match before the situation earlier today that broke out on Twitter, I said to somebody, I said, is this match going to be 3 minutes? And I hate saying that when it comes to 6 women tag team matches, but that's how I feel because they've made me used to that for years. Even when they started their Divas Revolution thing, they kind of got stuck in this mold where they think that 3 minutes for a multiple woman tag team match is the way to go.
Well, now
even though we see... Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's a 3-on-2 because Eva Marie got deleted. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get what they deleted.
But it's just, when I see that, it's just like, well, it's good that they're giving the SmackDown girls something to do on the card, which is great, because SummerSlam is going to be fucking exhausting. But, yeah, I wouldn't have done no handicap match. I feel like they're making it so obvious that they're going to have a third person be inserted in this. And there's rumors going around already now. There's been Nikki Bella's been cleared.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, how Nikki Bella's been cleared, and that says John Cena's going to be there anyway.
Yeah, and there's another possibility. Peyton Royce, who's been hinting at debuting, and I said, well, I'd be fine with a new girl on SmackDown, but at the same time,
why? But see, here's the thing, though. Why don't they send her to NXT?
Well, she is in NXT.
But you don't want to bring up anybody else from NXT because Asuka's not, and I said this before, Asuka's not going to have anyone to work with. It's just going to be Asuka Bailey, Asuka, no!
Well, that's the problem with NXT right now is that I think it's a bad thing that they did with NXT, and I remember saying when they had their Charlotte, Bailey, Sasha Banks, Summer Rae, all those women down there at once, I said, okay, watch, they're going to call each one of these girls up one by one, and they're going to run out of continuing to build off of what they created. Yeah. And they did that. But before they called up Charlotte and them, they kind of did that with Paige. When they called up Paige, called up Summer Rae, who shouldn't have been brought up that fast anyway, because she was a staunch heel. She was the dominant heel in that division at that time, and they called her up out of nowhere. They took that away, and then they had to create new stars out of nowhere, and which was fine because it was fast right after it. But now they've got this big void where, okay, Bailey's there right now to go against Asuka. Okay, after that match is done, Asuka's going to go against who? Ember Moon? Because that's your next possibility. They still got Liv Morgan. They've got Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, who for whatever reason, they do not seem to even care that she's even on that roster.
Right.
They don't do nothing with her, and I do not understand for the life of me how they do not do anything with her, because she is a very incredible wrestler. And I've been watching her since her indie days and know what she's capable of, and people that's went to house shows have said the same thing repeatedly, that she should be on the main television show.
But she still also has, unfortunately, kind of the look of the Bellas.
Kind of, but I mean, at some point, they're all going to start, when you're brought into that company and each girl is told to dye their hair a certain way, make sure your nails is done. I've seen them do this on Total Divas. Mm-hmm. You got to have a certain look. If you come up with something, you have to stick with it. It has to be approved. Eventually, they're all going to look alike. Yeah. Because
that was the thing with Eva Marie. Wasn't Eva Marie a brunette or a blonde? What was she?
She was brunette, and they wanted her to be strawberry blonde. And, technology with your hair, when you lift in from dark brunette to blonde, that doesn't work. Your hair turns orange. Yeah. And so she stuck with the red, and it was ballsy, but I mean, she made the right decision, because if they kept lifting her hair, she would have probably been halfway bald at this point.
True.
But if you look at the division now, Amanda Sakamoto and Mandy Rose, as her name is now, Liv Morgan, look almost alike to me.
Yep.
And there's just no differentiation between some of the girls, and it's sad that they've got so many girls with so many personalities. Like, I watched NXT last night, and Nicola Glencross, Nikki Storm, great, incredible wrestler. I'm glad she was in that match and all, but I said, after she got in there for a few minutes and was out, I said, okay, if you didn't know who she was before this, would you just think she's another girl?
Right.
That's how I felt when I watched it, and it was so disappointing, because I said, how are they going to build this division back up and make more opponents for Asuka if they're going to make everybody that should be a heel credible? Nikki Storm is great as babyface and heel. If they're going to keep making them be like these happy, cheeky, go lucky baby faces, it doesn't work for everybody. So
and personally, if I was in the ring, I mean, I do the e-wrestling. I don't know if you know what that is. On the side, it's much more fun to play a heel than a face anyway.
Yeah.
So. And
she really enjoys it. So hopefully they get to the point where they see that she's more marketable as the heel. And then eventually they'll slide her into that role, because the way it's looking, Asuka looks like she's going to turn heel, which I can't freaking wait for, because Kana is God as the heel.
Yes.
Can't.
I am with you with that, with the worthiness of the God known as Kana. So.
She's just amazing, and for people that does not know Kana, never seen her, all you gotta do is type in her name on YouTube and see her last year's work before she got signed. Nope. And then you will understand why I'm saying that she's a god. She will come out there with that makeup, that eyes and everything. Like, people always say that she shouldn't do that because you got Finn Balor doing that. But for me, it's like she is theatrical. She's been like that since her debut. You have to give her that. Especially make her look deranged, look zombified. Like, oh my god.
And Finn Balor only does the Demon King for pay-per-views anyway.
Yeah.
So, so why can't, I mean, even though he did it on Monday, but anyway, why can't she do the same at NXT takeovers?
Yeah, well, for me, I would actually prefer it if she was to do it. Like, if she turned heel on Bayley in this instance and brought it out.
Right.
I prefer her do like she did in Japan and keep the gimmick.
Yeah.
In Japan, when she finally turned that full-fledged heel, especially after she won that Openweight Championship and she crumbled Arisa Nakajima, who is just still been in shambles to this day.
Right.
She carried on that persona, and it was just, the pictures of her I have on my Tumblr, it was just so magical to see a person just consume and become that character all the time. And every promotion she ran and worked in, she carried that same persona, and she was still freaking scary. Yep. And there's not many women in Japan that are freaking scary this day. Don't Matsumoto, I'm getting the hell out of her way. Asia Kong, I'm not getting near her.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Jason. He's so quiet.
Face or heel, I would follow Asuka off of a cliff if she walked off of one. And it's like, with the way she is now, I mean, it's not that much of a tweak to turn her into the heel that she can be. It's like she's already that off her rocker, loose cannon, insane grin, and I would love to see her turn on Bayley and just kick the crap out of her. Heck, I'd love to see her turn heel on Izzy. Just go full out heel.
Yeah. Like when I watched their title contract signing, and the way she was looking at Bayley and she was talking to her, I said, she reminds me, it really made me think about how she was taunting Arisa Nakajima before their title match. And that's what she did. She did the same way. She kept looking at her, she kept talking to her calmly, and all of a sudden she just freaking just snapped. And it was just like, what in the hell? What, JWP? Why'd you bring this here? Like, we don't need this. Command mode bullshit. I mean, we're not ready for this. And it was just like, if they were to go that step to do that, I think that will really make more interest in NXT to see who is Asuka. Why is she acting like this? Who is she going to get next?
It makes sense, too, because you have Bayley, who is just your consummate epitome, your apex of babyface, and you're not going to have Bayley, by any stretch of the imagination, play the heel. It's kind of very clearly defined that she's kind of like the female John Cena, for lack of a better term to use, but she's kind of the new face of what women's wrestling is going to be going forward in WWE, at least from a babyface standpoint. And Asuka, it's so easy to turn her heel, and this is the perfect opportunity to do it, especially because you called up most of your female heels from the NXT roster to the main roster. Yeah, so it makes even more sense to make Asuka a heel now.
Like, she has to, if you're going to really make her not only NXT Women's Champion and put off on commentary that she's so dangerous and she's this and that, okay, we see what she's capable of in the ring, but tell me what else about her makes her so freaking dangerous. If she came out there with that makeup and those eyes and just started just acting just crazy, that would make people be like, what in the world? This woman is crazy. Don't go over there, Bayley. That will add more to people being behind Bayley, like, oh my God, Bayley, please, like, you're near danger. Run. But if you don't do that and you keep her kind of like she's playing in between face and heel, before she gets those next big matches, people are going to be like, okay, what is it to Asuka? You know?
And as a full-out heel, too, even if you want to bring up some of these new faces in the women's division as a heel, the heel versus heel match has a lot more legs and a lot more you can do with it than your tweener that Asuka is now versus your face Bayley.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's a heel, she can work against other heels. She can work against faces. There's just so much more you can do, and it just so much more fits her personality.
Yeah, and another thing that would work if they were to establish her as that, as like kind of like her, like the new Kana, in a way, WWE's version. Don't have her team up with anybody. Don't have her have a tag team, and that's one thing they did in Japan that was really smart. The only team she had was Triple Tails with Mio and Io Shirai. That's it. Nobody else. Even when they had storylines where people were forced to be her tag team partners because she won a match. Not that she wants to be friends with everybody. I know they do that in NXT and stuff. Everybody wants to be friends. No, we're not friends. I'm here to kick faces off and keep my title.
And chew bubblegum, and she's all out of bubblegum.
Or put bubblegum in hair. One of the two. Something.
Hey,
let me know that she doesn't like everybody.
Speaking of bubblegum chewing, we've got somebody else we're going to add to the call real quick.
Uh-oh.
And you kind of mentioned his name earlier, Sierra, so we're not going to be surprised that joining us on the line at this time, another great member of the Angry Marks podcast family, the Quintastic One, makes his way back.
If Sabian was Black Jesus, who was the real deal? Maybe he was just a guy a few fries short of a Happy Meal. When you're talking about Hungry Games, they call me Fatness Everfeed. So when Angry Marks needs a little sizzle, you gotta stay Quintastic to get what you need. Wham bam, thank you ma'am, may I have another? From the T to the Q to the O, my brother, it is I, the Quintastic One.
Okay.
Good God, man, have I missed you?
I literally just wrote all that up like in the past 5 minutes of waiting on the call, so you're welcome.
I mean, you were just able to keep that going.
That's what I do.
Man. If you were any sharper Quintastic One, they would ban you from all airline flights in the U.S.
I do have to avoid cutting myself on all this edge.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Quintastic One, joining us on the line, obviously, you've heard Sierra. We've got the great Sudoku.
Hello.
And we also have the original Angry Mark, Jersey Girl, Danny D'Adamo.
Hello.
So as we're getting some former hosts back on the line with us here, we're just kind of going around and asking everybody, what are some of your memories from when you joined the network?
You want me to go on that?
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Falls over the crowd.
Well, okay. If I may be serious for a moment, the number one memory that I'll always remember from Angry Marks is the fact that they were there for me when I was dropped from QCW Radio, which was ironically a radio show that had my name in it, and they decided they didn't need me anymore. But Angry Marks had a spot for me on the Tuesday night show, the Angry Marks Roundtable. I forget the name of it as of this time right now.
Ring the bell.
But pretty much the fact that they always had their doors open for me anytime that I wanted to come back, whether it was to do like the Monday night review show for the recaps, or for the roundtable shows, or the occasional special guest spot on the Thursday night show when I would talk about MMA and show that I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. Angry Marks was always there for me podcasting-wise, and so they'll always have a special place in my heart in terms of if I were to ever return to radio, it would only be through Angry Marks. There is no other place. They are number one.
Well, thank you.
That's a tear shed down.
That's always nice to hear. So, Mr. Quintastic One, let the listeners know what you're up to today.
God, a whole lot of nothing. I've been breeding. I've been breeding. I got 2 beautiful children. I got a 3-year-old and I got a just freshly today a 1-month-old little girl. So, beyond that, life is pretty uneventful for me. I work, eat, sleep, change diapers, and that's pretty much the life of the Quintastic One. A real settled down kind of life after what I've been known for with my antics on Angry Marks, that's for sure.
It's no longer the life of sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Especially not flapjacks and hookers, that's for sure.
Now it's pancakes, bacon, and diapers.
And let me
transition.
They do help a little bit of roughage in the morning, I have to say.
Let me just vouch for the Quintastic One here. When he says that he has 2 adorable children, holy shit, he is not lying. I mean, I've been trying to tell this guy he needs to pack up the family. He needs to go down to Hollywood. He needs to get them signed with a casting agency. They are just absolutely adorbs. And I don't even use that word.
I don't think we need to subject my children to the Jackson 5 syndrome, though. I think I'd like to have them enjoy their childhood as much as possible.
Yeah.
As long as you don't put their age back.
No, little Jackson here. No, he's fine. The mustache is just a growth hormone issue. We're having that treated by the doctor. Don't worry about the warbling in his voice either. We promise we'll get the falsetto settled when we're ready to cue. When the camera's rolling, he's good.
Meanwhile, he's like,
I'd give birth to the next Gary Coleman.
Oh my god.
Well, hey, there is no shame in making a career out of going on TV and selling debit cards.
I mean, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Harvey can't stay on the air forever.
No. I mean, somebody's got to do it. Why not? I mean,
Montel Williams is eventually going to pass away.
Oh, God.
Isn't Gary Coleman dead?
Yes.
Yes.
He's been.
I feel terrible now.
You feel terrible over somebody's death? Come on.
Okay, I only feel a little terrible.
We named the show the Sweet and Sour Report, for Christ's sakes.
Oh my God.
That's a tribute, okay? I miss me Larry Sweeney.
As long as they protected Bubble around Mel Brooks and Stan Lee, we're good.
For every child I have at least a quarter of a heart restored. So I have half the feelings that I used to.
Okay.
There you go. So
I had a memory. I remembered a time I was supposed to host AMV, and Quint, Tensai, and Jeff were on air with me, and those two, the whole show, I was like, oh my God. They kept going on about naked Jim Neidhart.
There was a whole booking surrounding that with naked Jim Neidhart taking on naked Dusty Rhodes at SummerSlam. It's like we had like a whole thing going on for like a month.
Yeah, I think we were, as I remember, I think we were previewing SummerSlam, and I was trying to have a serious conversation, and those two kept talking about naked Jim Neidhart, and I was just like, what? Does he have to do with this? I believe he got inserted into the Divas match, if there was one, for whatever reason. He got inserted into the tag team matches, was on the pre-show, busting on the main event. I don't know what was going on, but he was all over the show.
You ever notice that when we got in those silly conversations about naked whoever, it was never a woman? We never talked about naked China, naked Bull Nankana, no, it was always guys.
We don't really
you see, that's objectification, and that's wrong.
We don't really need to talk about naked China. We could just go get her porn and see it.
Well, yeah, this is true now. And actually, I do highly suggest you do that, because she actually did make some fairly decent porn, if I may say so. You can skip the Tammy Sitch DVDs though.
You're not a fan of the One Night in China, huh?
Well, I'm not a fan of One Night in China because I don't believe in invading people's privacy like that. That was just wrong. So no, and I completely forgot about that too. So don't go watch One Night in China. Go do the stuff that China actually wanted to do.
Not to mention, seeing China porn is all fine and dandy, but seeing Sean Waltman naked, that's something you just can't come back from.
But that's the same thing as seeing Tommy Lee naked. It's like,
I don't know. Sean Waltman's career seemed to bounce back okay.
I love how we go from naked Jim Neidhart to Sean Waltman.
Non-sequiturs.
So,
like, it's
what we
the
do.
most random conversation. It's just like when my first time being on Angry Mars, I was talking about where is Matt Bentley. I don't know why.
Where is Matt Bentley now?
For the longest time was essentially just saying who with a question mark after it, no matter who you're talking about. Who?
Who?
We never did find Matt Bentley.
I think he's a part of a band or something.
I think we just gave up on him.
He's still doing the Bentley Bop wherever he may be.
I feel bad now. We abandoned him.
I know, poor guy. He really needed our support.
How could I don't understand how we can live with ourselves now.
Speaking of people we need to find Jorge Estrada.
No, we don't.
No,
Where in the world is Jorge Estrada?
Yeah, that was freaky. I figured he just went back to the Indies, but I can't find anything on Jorge Estrada after his TNA run. Nowhere.
He fell off the face of the earth. He's in that black hole that Sheamus and Jack Gallagher and Nakajima need to fall into.
I mean, we're not looking for, Jimmy Wang Yang, are we?
What if he became the Winter Soldier?
Anything he's on, I'm not watching. No bias.
Speaking of watch, Quintastic One, you got a few minutes to stick around.
I suppose so.
We just started running down the SummerSlam card, and we started that like 40 minutes ago now. First match.
I have a feeling this episode is gonna be the episode that keeps going and going.
It's the show that never ends.
When this show ends, it'll be time for episode 501.
Jesus. I can't even believe we've gotten to 500 episodes. Yep. That's scary.
I know. Who would ever thought we would be on the air for that long?
Like, God, we're freaking old, man.
Hey, don't rub it in.
We're waiting on our pension checks. Yeah, I mean,
I had to debut on 200 or something?
Something like that. I mean, you weren't even legal yet.
Yes, I was.
You couldn't drink. You could just.
Well, I couldn't drink, but I was legal.
She told me she was 21. This is terrible.
I was 20 when I came to Angry Marks. I was 20, and
things I've done.
Gosh. Don't put your past problems on me.
The things you thought.
I'm still paying you child support.
That is not my problem. I can't make you do it.
Quintastic's got 2 of his own now. He can't afford child support anymore.
I mean, he offered.
California is unforgiving in that manner.
Yeah.
They always support the mother.
There you go. First match on this show was Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya and Alexis Bliss. 2-on-1 handicap match. Real quick, Quintastic One, who's going over?
What the? What in the world? A 3-on-2 handicap match involving divas?
Well, Eva Marie was supposed to be the third one on that team, but she just got suspended for a wellness policy violation today.
They are really dedicated to keeping that gimmick of her never having to wrestle, aren't they?
It's a great gimmick. I am not a fan of Eva Marie, but she's using that heat to her advantage. Good for her.
Since when is herpes a wellness policy violation?
Oh.
Okay, we're not going to do that because I'm waving all red everything flag. I've been for years.
No, I will repeat what I said before. I am not an Eva Marie fan. I mean, I will watch Total Divas. I will watch what she does there. I'm not a fan of hers, but I am a fan of what she's doing. She's using all that heat that she got from NXT. She used all that heat that was on the internet when she wasn't drafted or whatever. And I think there was a meme going around that said that Eva Marie was drafted to Pornhub.
Yes, there was.
So it's like, good for her. She's using that heat. Good for her. It's great. And with the dumb reason she's coming up with, I think, what was it, Tuesday, that she was stuck in traffic?
Right.
I'm stuck in traffic, I can't make it. And then the week before that, it was a wardrobe malfunction. And then the week before that, I think she hurt her leg or something. I'm really not too sure.
Well,
but anyway, no.
Well, this week can be because she's received a FedEx.
Yep.
But I actually think that even the gimmick is genius, and I've seen a lot of people online like, this is so stupid, and meanwhile I'm sitting there like, no, you're just stupid. But
look at what we're doing. These people are saying that it's stupid. They're talking
about her. Exactly.
We're talking about her.
But the thing is, for me, the reason why it's so genius, and this is why I think too much when it comes to wrestling, is because for me it goes back. Yeah, it goes back to the whole stigma and problem with Eva Marie that fans have against her. here she is. She wins a diva search. Let's put quotes around a diva search. She gets thrown on television the next week. Okay,
right?
All because to promote a reality TV show that, you know, she didn't know that it was going to happen like that. You know, she had a whirlwind. She didn't know she was going to be on television out of nowhere, and then they kept throwing her on TV. They didn't really want her to focus on wrestling. They just want her to be the new kind of the face, the eye candy that they was looking for and have been looking for years after Trish Stratus. But they never seemed to really settle on that. Right. So she took on that role. Like, if you think about it, if you don't see her in the ring, she's doing a whole bunch of modeling shoots. She's on a whole bunch of magazines and stuff because that's what they want. It keeps their name out there. Put a girl with a pretty face and WWE next to it. People are going to make the association. So she became that. And when she went to NXT to learn the wrestling and stuff, and I said, you know, she's not bad. She's getting there. At least she's offering to learn. Like, she went and got Brian Kendrick, who is one of the gods of indie wrestling, and nobody gives that guy credit. Yeah. And she went to him for his tutelage when she could just be like, you know, freak it. Like, I'm out here modeling in the sun. I don't have to get in the ring. But she went that step, and people still hate this girl because she's one of the models turned wrestlers. That's not her fault. That's WWE's fault. And people still want to throw that at her. Like, today, when the news came out about her getting suspended, I seen a lot of people making so many derogatory remarks, which they do with the divas, women of the company anyways. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, okay, she went from being just this model that didn't know anything to now being a model that knows what's going on. And you still can't cut her some slack. So this gimmick is playing off of all the problems she's had all these years. Where fans say she's incapable of wrestling. Well, now she's using that to her advantage to get out of it. And that's genius because she's flipping it on them, and instead of them picking that up and understanding that they're getting worked, they're getting pissed off about it. And it's just like, are we serious?
It's funny.
Like, are we really serious?
Well, in terms of my actual prediction for the either handicap match or hopefully there'll be like a to-be-announced like surprise partner, that's actually going to be my guess. It's for Natalya and Alexa Bliss. They're going to bring out... what's her name? Damn, I should know this. I'm just drawing a blank right now. They're going to bring out the girl who's been doing the squash matches on Raw, and she's going to destroy everyone on the opposite team.
Nia Jax?
Yeah.
But they can't because it's a SmackDown match.
Whatever.
We're so concerned about keeping the brand separate here. That's why we've had, you know, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton on shows every week now.
The brand thing is so ridiculous.
Yeah, the brand thing is already spoiled, so, you know.
If they don't bring in Nia Jax, I'll just say the match doesn't matter because Eva Marie is not present.
There you go.
Or you can bring in, you know, Nikki Bella. If she's cleared, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, she left as a heel. Why bring her back babyface? Like, somebody just asked me that on Twitter. Like, wouldn't you consider bringing her back as a babyface? Why would I do that? She is perfect as a heel. Come on, you don't fix
just
something
because her man is a babyface doesn't mean that she has to be.
And the Bella Twins, I told somebody this. I said they could fire all those women in the division right now and keep Nikki Bella. She go out there, everybody still want to hate her. Even if she's feeding the children of the world, people will still hate her.
Maybe so.
And that's just something you can't just take away from her. The Bella Twins, no matter what they do, people still dislike them. And it's crazy that out of all those women for all those years, your Mickie James, your Michelle McCools, your Laylas and stuff, her and her sister are the only two out of that whole time period that are still being able to be hated to this day. And that's crazy.
No one is going to hate whoever The Undertaker is with. No one.
Oh, no, they didn't like Michelle McCool. They didn't.
I can attest to the debates that Ciara and I had about Michelle McCool.
Yeah. I defended her.
Yeah. All right, so...
I came and
so
for her.
So, Quintastic One, who's winning?
Geez, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Natalya Alexa Bliss team just because with that third person up in the air, I really doubt they're gonna do 3 baby faces versus 2 heels in a handicap match. That don't make sense to me. So I think they're gonna have a surprise team partner who's gonna help them win the match.
All right. Second match we already went over real quick. Sheamus versus Cesaro. Me and Danny and
Me.
Jason. Jason, what is your name? Damn it.
Sudoku.
Yes. Me and Danny and the Great Sudoku all agreed Cesaro is going to go over in this match. Sierra, who's going over?
I'm picking the ring post because I really don't care.
All right. There we go. Quintastic one. Who goes over?
I'm gonna pick Sheamus just for the sheer fact that for this whole best of 7 series to work, in my mind, with Sheamus already losing like the past 3 contests he's had with Cesaro, like, if they're starting over fresh, he's gonna have to pick up a couple wins to even make this seem like it matters at all, because otherwise, if Cesaro wins a couple of them, why are you even doing best of 7 series? The guys beat him like half a dozen times in a row, there's no point to it unless Sheamus starts getting some wins first.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna agree with you. Sheamus wins. Thank you. That was very convincing. Moving on. Let's see. We've got a WWE Intercontinental Championship match. The champion, The Miz, with Maurice versus Apollo Crews. Sudoku, chime off. Who's going over?
First of all, Apollo Crews is on the wrong show. Apollo Crews is just custom made with his physique and just his character is perfect for Raw. He does not belong on SmackDown. I don't see them taking the belt off of Miz, especially not for Apollo Crews. Miz is going over and retaining.
All right, Danny.
No fucks given.
Okay. Quintastic one.
I don't care.
Well, you see what's going to happen here is that Mizzy Balboa and Apollo Creed are going to go all 12 rounds. At the end, they're going to knock each other down and then be a really dramatic, longest 10 seconds of your life as they both try to scratch and claw their way back up to their feet. And at the end, it's going to be Mizzy Balboa screaming, Maurice! As he retains his title successfully.
Very entertaining. It may actually be possible. Sierra, who's winning?
I think she got cut off.
Uh-oh. Did Sierra?
I'm here.
Oh, there she is.
Sure.
The black hole got me.
We almost thought you got deleted.
No, never. No, never.
V1 will never take you down.
No, I don't like Matt Hardy.
Okay, so who's winning, Apollo Crews or Miz?
The Miz, because I really don't like. I like Apollo Crews, but just no.
You can
No.
always join me with teams no fucks given.
Like, I mean, he's a great guy, but I think, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things like WWE signed him off of what it seemed like was going to be all cracked up to what it's supposed to be, but I don't see it. And I don't think anybody else watching sees what they think we see in him. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think it's going to be Apollo. Go ahead.
I honestly wish they would just cut him loose and sign Cedric Alexander. I mean, might as well.
Oh, you know they're going to
Get him
sign.
out.
You know they're going to sign. Well, I know they're going to sign Alexander. I've already heard that confirmed from an inside source. Alexander is in.
They better do, because I mean, come on.
So
I've been pulling for this guy for years now.
yeah. I'm going to go with Apollo Crews because Miz is going to get himself disqualified.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Yeah, typical Miz. Let's see. Next match on the card is tag team match: Enzo and Cass versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Quintastic one, we'll start with you.
Man, you'd think that with how pointless this tag match is with Jericho and Owens being a team, that this would go to Enzo and Cass. But you'd be wrong, because I have scoops on the inside as well that tell me that we're going to have Eric Young, Bobby Roode, A1, Scott D'Amore, and Johnny Devine running into this match, and they are going to reform Team Canada with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and they're going to run roughshod all over the WWE.
As soon as you said Eric Young, I knew what the fuck you were going to say. And I'm all here for it, actually.
I still have my Team Canada shirt, so I would be down for that.
I'm ready for Eric Young to be wandering around and act like he has no clue. I miss those days. You remember when Sting gave him the pep talk?
Yes.
And he all of a sudden became Showtime?
Yes.
They don't make wrestling like that no more. They don't. It's just little moments. Just little moments.
Yeah. So, Sierra, who's going to win this match?
I don't like this team of Jericho and Kevin Owens because Jericho has such a big ego and Kevin Owens doesn't like anybody, so that's kind of like hard to please their friends. I'm going to go with Enzo and Cass.
All right. Jason.
I'm going to borrow Joyzy Girl's answer here with no fucks given, but Chris Jericho can fall into that black hole too.
Aww.
All right. And Joyzy Girl.
I'm going with my boys, Enzo and Cass. Even though I am a fan of Jericho and Kevin Owens, and I love their chemistry, and especially love Kevin Owens' one-liners, especially when he said how Big Cass can't spell. That was great. I love Kevin Owens on commentary and whatever, but I'm going with my boys, Enzo and Cass.
My heart really wants to be with Enzo and Cass winning this match, but the cynical side of me says it's going to be Jericho and Owens because it's Chris Jericho and he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. I don't think he's really going to be invested in putting over an Enzo and Cass, and Kevin Owens is just kind of along for the ride right now until they can really find something for him to do. So they're going to try to keep his stock up, and I think that's, Jericho and Owens are going to win, and I think that's going to be unfortunately wrong. So moving on in this show, we've got the WWE Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, The New Day, defending against Gallows and Anderson. And we'll go with Jason first.
I'm going to go with the New Day because, the WWE has no idea how to book or what to do with Gallows and Anderson. They're going to 50-50 book them into obscurity until the day their contracts expire. New Day retains.
All right. Quintastic one.
After this match, the New Day, pardon the pun, won't have the balls to take on Gallows and Anderson. I'm going to go with the club.
All right. Danny.
I am a big fan of the New Day, but I think a change of guard needs to happen. I'm going with the club for this one.
You know what? I agree with that, and that was my pick as well for exactly that reason. The club goes over the New Day, new tag team champions, maybe find something new to do with this. Sierra, you get the last choice.
As much as I would like to see the tag team titles change here, I would go with the club, but my concern with the club becoming champions is what the hell they're going to do with them next, because
She got deleted.
She got deleted.
See? She should have went with the club. If she went with the club, she would not have gotten deleted.
I didn't go with the club, and I didn't get deleted.
Retaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, retaining against that. That's kind of scary. It's kind of like, remember in WCW when they debuted Chronic? And they were killing everybody? And then they got on Monday Night Raw, and Kane and Undertaker just killed them in 5 seconds? Like, you just can't do shit like that. I don't want a new Chronic. Okay? I'm still heartbroken. Still mad about that shit. But, I'm going with the club because, you might as well. They ain't got shit else to do.
All right, so let's assume for a second that Gallows and Anderson does win. Do you see the New Day breaking up after this?
I hope not.
No.
Because I can't take another Kofi Kingston becoming Jamaican again. Like, I just can't go back with him. I can't take him being didn't they make him a wildcat or something like that at one point? He went from being Jamaican to a cat to, we can't do that with Kofi. We can't have Xavier Woods dancing. We can't have Big E being Mr. Olympia. We can't do that again. We can't. Keep them together. Let them be like the only team that stays together. We need to have that.
Alrighty. Could he become an island star?
No.
Nope, can't do that with Kofi either. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Next, we got on the list WWE Women's Championship. Sasha Banks defending against Charlotte. Dana Brooke barred from ringside. Danny, we'll go with you first.
Sasha Banks is holding on to the title because they pushed her way too much. Well, not way too much, but they pushed her to get to that title. And she finally got that title. And for her to hot shot it right back to Charlotte, it should not happen. I'm picking Sasha.
Alrighty, C.
I don't know. I actually would like to see them trade a title back and forth. Because I feel like this thing with her and Sasha is not going to end anytime soon. And they're making it seem like this is going to continue on and on and on forever. Because, you know, everybody wants to do this. We can do this forever thing. So, I would say Charlotte wins by DQ. Even though Dana Brooks banned from ringside, say we have a weird situation where Bayley comes out for no reason. Bayley comes out, says Charlotte gets somebody to interfere on her behalf, somebody else, and it brings out Bayley to come defend her friend. DQ finish, that leads to the next match. Then Sasha Banks, Bayley, head to head. So, yeah, I'm going with Charlotte. DQ
but
finish.
I don't think they're going to be constantly using Bayley, for main roster things.
Yeah, but I think, to be honest with you, the way I'm seeing it is with this weekend with TakeOver, Asuka's going to retain, and after Asuka retains against Bayley, there's nothing else for her to do in NXT. It's time to call her up. And it will actually bring the story from a year ago full circle. Last year, Sasha Banks lost the title to Bayley and was on the main roster. Now, it's Bayley's time to come up. So, like a whole year later.
I see what you're saying, and while I do agree with you, it goes right back to what we were talking about earlier. Who the heck is Asuka going to wrestle? There's really no one at this point right now. Sarah Del Rey, unfortunately, is going to have to work really double duty because right now there really isn't anyone. Maybe Ember Moon, but there really isn't anyone. Maybe, as I said with you earlier when you were talking about Billie Kay, maybe she can get into Bayley's spot. But other than that, there really isn't anyone to put it to fill that void if Bayley gets called up.
Well, actually, I think with Asuka, the best thing to do in between that time while they're building up the girls is feed her tomato cans like they're doing Nia Jax. Have her just desecrate, your Britt Bakers and all them on there until somebody finally says that, you're having fluke wins.
Right.
Let me get a crack at your title. And that'd be the time for Ember Moon or Nicola Glenn Cross or any of those other girls to step up, and that'd be like the next takeover. In between this time and the next takeover, the next couple title defenses or whatever she has can just be fluke wins. She could just beat up anybody. And I don't think there's any other reason to keep Bayley in NXT anymore. One, she's past that point. And two, it's time. If you're going to bring her up and put her in the mix with Charlotte, Sasha, and other women, more than ever right now is the time.
Yeah. And
if you keep holding her back, that title might wind up on SmackDown at some point. You never know. Then what they're going to do? Throw her on SmackDown? It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to pass that time, and she's going to be sitting there looking stupid like Samoa Joe years ago in TNA trying to get the TNA World title.
True.
That's what's going to happen. So I see Charlotte winning by DQ. Something's going to happen. A faulty finish. I feel like it's going to happen. It's not going to be a clean finish.
You know what? I'm going to borrow Quintastic One's idea here. Dana Brooks is barred from ringside. That doesn't mean anybody else is. And I think you send Nia Jackson for a run-in. And Sasha Banks wins by DQ.
I'm not like most girls.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm also going to borrow from Sierra here. I think Bayley does come down and help make the save and even it up. And I think at the next pay-per-view you get... it perfectly sets up for a 2-on-2 tag team match. That'll work just fine. I don't think that means you call up Bayley though. I think Bayley stays down in NXT. I think she wins the title to become the 3-time champion now, isn't it?
No, it'll be, wait.
2-time.
2-time.
Okay. I couldn't quite remember there. Yeah, that's right. 2-time. I think they make her a 2-time champion there. That sets up a long-term feud with Asuka for exactly the reasons discussed. There's just not a deep enough women's roster there to anybody to challenge Asuka, that's for sure. If you don't have Bayley there, you ain't got nobody that's going to challenge Asuka at all. And it's just going to make everything look bad for a while. So I think all of that works in, just fine there. So that's going to be my pick. Quintastic one, what's your pick?
Well, unfortunately, Charlotte is going to experience some sort of a very gnarly injury before the show. And in a pre-show vignette, going to say that she has a perfect, suitable replacement for Sasha Banks. And just after the champ makes her entrance, everyone's wondering who's going to come out. And out comes naked Jim Neidhart. He cuts a promo, talking about how he's waited 3 years for this chance to get back the title he never lost. And then they're going to tear the house down between Sasha Banks and naked Jim Neidhart, and he's taking home the gold, baby.
Kev?
Who?
Kevin?
Danny, yes.
Is there a way to, delete Quintastic for that comment right there?
Sorry, what has been heard cannot be unheard.
Oh, my ears need bleach now. As opposed to my eyes needing bleach, my ears, oh god.
I would support that if the only thing Neidhart was wearing was the Who mask.
Okay, how long is Emma on the shelf?
Until she repays back the iPod case she stole.
Because I was thinking, if this was around her time where she's, cleared, it would have been perfect for her to interfere on Charlotte's behalf.
Well, she did experience a kind of a rough ride, if you know what I mean.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's bad.
Sudoku,
Sudoku, sir! What do you got here? What do you got here?
I have Sasha Banks retaining. Again, it's a title she just won with the brand new brand split that went on, and you really don't want to have the belt hot-shotted like has been happening over in the UFC in the women's bantamweight division, where, even with that being a shoot, it just kind of
come on, that
quality and just makes it look bad when the title switches every time there's a defense. So especially because Dana Brooke is barred from ringside, there's going to be some kind of fuckery involved, but the title is going to remain with Sasha Banks.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
Yeah?
Dana Brooke is barred from ringside, but if someone can correct me, wasn't Nikki... Wait a minute. Didn't Charlotte get the belt from Nikki Bella?
Yep. Dun dun dun.
There you go. That would be a perfect opportunity for Nikki Bella to come back and interfere.
She comes back, interferes, stops Charlotte from getting the title? Does she stop Sasha so Charlotte gets the title so she can take the title back from Charlotte? Or does she stop Charlotte from fucking up the match somehow and then go into a feud with Charlotte?
You see, we gotta think about this in a Bella way. Go out there and forearm Charlotte, give Sasha Banks the win, and then Sasha Banks thinks that, she knows in her mind that they're not on each other's side, but Nikki Bella puts it out there that, I did that because... that BITCH broke my damn neck.
Right.
And I had to get it back on her, but don't be mistaken by this. I still want my damn belt that is rightfully mine. And she's been kind of saying that on Twitter, it's time for me to get back what I never lost. So that'd be a perfect way to bring her in.
That just popped right in my head, wait a minute. Nikki Bella's cleared. She lost the belt to Charlotte. Dana Brooke is banned from ringside.
Just straight up.
Now it makes perfect sense. If she's saying that she's cleared, and exactly with everything that she's been saying on Twitter and Instagram lately, I would not be surprised now if Nikki gets involved somehow.
All right, well there you have it. Next match on the card: United States Championship, the champion Rusev with Lana versus the Golden Boy himself, Roman Reigns. And we'll start with Quintastic one on this one.
Well, I really hate predicting all these run-ins from my picks of the pay-per-view, but this just makes too much sense to me. Roman Reigns is about to win the match when the Big Show interferes and says that we have unfinished business, and the Big Show reignites his feud with Roman Reigns.
Oh,
Rusev
Lord.
Reigns.
Oh, Lord. Danny, who you got?
This is another no fucks given. Yeah.
All right. Sierra, who you got?
I guess Reigns. Because when it rains, it bores.
Yep.
All right.
Like, can they make that guy just not more likable? Or...
Jason, who you got?
This is my bathroom break match. This is also where I tweet out, guess what Lana is spelled backwards.
I just got it.
That's brilliant.
Now I have an image that I have to get out of my mind really quick.
I just Udry my machka.
I think they put it on. I think Reigns wins. I have no reason why other than maybe Rusev's held on to this title for a little too long. So seems about time for a title switch. All right. For a match that has nothing at stake, John Cena versus AJ Styles. Jason, we'll start with you.
This is one where AJ Styles has to go over because John Cena is on his way out to a very light schedule. He's not going to be around much. And it does John Cena no good to win. And I know just how the WWE has a hard on, and it just gets them off to put John Cena over everybody, especially talent that is over with the fans. But this is one that AJ needs, and this is one that AJ's going to win. He's going to beat the American Hiroshi Tanahashi in this match.
Alrighty. Sierra, who's winning?
Actually, for me, either way, I would be happy with it because I don't have anything against John Cena, and I think that this will be a good idea. I actually will pull more for AJ Styles because you've got to do something more with AJ Styles. He can't just get caught up and hung up on Cena. Like, after Cena takes a break or whatever, what are we going to do with AJ Styles? Like, I'm dreading when they lock him and Orton together because I know that's not going to be done anytime soon. So, yeah, we're going with AJ Styles this one.
All right, Quintastic one.
Well, disregarding, how soon John Cena is going to be out for like 2 months or anything like that, we've seen this booking before. Like, we've seen it with Rusev, we've seen it with Kevin Owens, we've seen it with Bray Wyatt. AJ Styles won their initial contest. Now, John Cena won the second one, which I'll bet was a tag match with a little bit of a difference there. But there's still 2 more pay-per-views that John Cena has to go over AJ Styles to get his heat back because he put him over once. So I'm going to go with John Cena.
All right, Danny.
I'm going with AJ Styles.
Okay. I'm going to go with AJ Styles on this one, too. He's due a good, credible win. John Cena is not too big of a man that he won't put another guy over. And as Conor McGregor recently pointed out, John Cena, he's a 40-year-old failed Mr. Olympian. He's just got no career left in him. He's done, right?
Yep.
Amen.
Hashtag absolutely.
Alrighty, so there you go. Heading into the top end of the card, WWE World Championship, champion Dean Ambrose against Dolph Ziggler. Danny, who's going over?
Say that again, sorry?
Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler.
And you know me for how long, Kevin? And you need to ask me who I think is going to go over in that match?
Well, I know who you think's going to go over, but I'm not one to answer for somebody else.
You do realize that I believe in explicit violence, right?
Yes.
So I think you would know who I would pick for this.
So you're going to pick Dolph Ziggler busting open Dean Ambrose, completely laying him out on the mat. 1, 2, 3, new World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes. Sarcastic asshole. Anyway, no, I'm going with Dean. I mean, come on. This is me you're talking about. Granted, Ciara and the Quintastic one don't know about my love of Jon Moxley. But, yeah, no, I'm going with Dean. I mean, it's a shame that Dolph Ziggler has been in the doghouse so much lately. And I would
Lately? You mean years, girl.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. It's like, it is just so sad, that he got over the whole Spirit Squad gimmick. and whatnot. And he was able to get himself over with the show off gimmick and the whole thing. And it's just like, everything he does, the dude is wrong. It's wrong. And it's like, what the hell? Would I like to see Dolph Ziggler get the title again? Yes, of course. But with my love of Dean Ambrose, it's not going to happen. So, go on with Dean.
Alrighty. Great Sudoku. Who wins?
Being the New Japan fan that I am, I have to quote, or paraphrase rather, the great Prince Devitt, aka Finn Balor in this one. Dolph fucking Ziggler, get the fuck out of here. Dean Ambrose retains.
Alrighty, Quintastic one.
Well, I mean, what can you really say? They've done what they could to try to build up this match as competitively as they can, but I mean, I hate to rag on Ziggler, but the moment he was announced as the number one contender, you knew this was pretty much just a filler match to pad Dean Ambrose's title reign. And basically, they're going to go out there, they're going to put on a hell of a match, because that's what Dolph Ziggler does. It's, going to be amazing. But there's no way in hell. It's like somebody else mentioned, he's been in the doghouse for years. He's been in there so long, they might as well just put up a cardboard sign with his name on the doghouse, because he ain't never getting out. Dean Ambrose retains.
Alrighty, Sierra.
I'm a Dolph Ziggler fan and been for years, and I've been, witnessing this doghouse thing going on for years. I mean, they've cut the guy's hair off one time, dyed it brunette, and then they went platinum blonde, and now if you look at SmackDown and you see him in the ring, there's sometimes I'd be like, did they get 90s Shawn Michaels, or is that Dolph Ziggler? He's halfway there. I mean, he's turned into another person. And they still, for whatever reason, just do not like this guy, shit on this guy, and I'm trying to figure out what it is that they keep doing that with him, because he's everything that they're trying to make these kids at NXT be. He's been that for years. And they just don't care. Honestly, I'm not really a big fan of Dean Ambrose. I don't get the fascination. I'm going to go for him to retain. And honestly, I love Dolph Ziggler, and as much as I love him, I would actually prefer him be demoted to NXT so that he could have actually good matches with people and not get shitted on as much. Because no matter what they do with this guy, they always fuck his push up. I don't get it. It's a shame. If he was in TNA right now, he'd be world champion. No freaking problem. No problem. Ring of Honor would have him on every show. New Japan would have him bumping like crazy. I don't get it. They just, what it is about this guy that they just don't care about. And it's been going on for maybe 6-7 years?
Yeah.
That's crazy. He's everything that they're teaching these guys at NXT to be, and they just do not give a fuck. I don't get it.
Alrighty. You know what? I'm going to complete the clean sweep here. I think it is Dean Ambrose that goes over. Dolph Ziggler, a loss couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So, that being said, new WWE Universal Championship on the line, Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Sierra, first pick. Who's going over?
Seth Rollins.
Okay, Sudoku.
I want Finn Balor to win. I would love it if Finn Balor would win. Finn Balor needs to win. However, Finn Balor is not going to win. I don't see the WWE having enough faith in him yet. This just reeks of what they did with AJ Styles when he went up against Roman Reigns in his quest for the title that came up short. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Finn Balor here. I think Seth Rollins is going to be your inaugural Universal Champion, and Finn Balor is going to slip down the card and have to work his way back up.
Alrighty, Danny.
I agree with what Jason just said. I would love to see Finn Balor get the title, but I don't think WWE has that much faith in him yet. So it's gonna go to Seth.
Alright, Quintastic one?
Well, I hate to be all with everybody else, because I usually pride myself on being against the grain, but Sudoku's got this one right, the nail right on the head here. It's kind of a similar thing with Ziggler versus Ambrose. They really only have Balor up there because they know he's going to put on an amazing match with Rollins, but, the writing is on the wall. This whole thing is just set up to give Rollins the championship since he had to lose to Dean Ambrose, via Money in the Bank. So Seth Rollins is definitely going over. I wish they didn't spoil the demon thing already for Finn Balor, because then at least they could have done something where he's not going to be the demon on SummerSlam and still lose, so he can say that he has some other ace up his sleeve and continue this on. But they're going to hotshot the demon gimmick right into SummerSlam against Rollins and still lose, and the guy's not going to have any heat left. So, like Sudoku said, he's going down on the bottom of the card. It's like
they took the first date away from the Demon King fangirls on the internet. Like, they just took that away. Like, we could have waited. We've been waiting. You just threw that out there, and when I seen that on Raw, I was just like, why so soon? Why the rush? We haven't even seen Finn Balor get angry or go on his dark side or anything. Like, we haven't even seen that. They just said, you know what, look, just paint your face. Go out there and scare somebody, okay?
And that makeup, not so much his face, with the Eye of Balor on the back and all the writing that he had on his body and whatever. I don't do a lot of special effects makeup. I mean, maybe I only do it maybe 3 or 4 times a year for zombie crawls and Halloween events and stuff. But that particular makeup that he did, which essentially is Venom, that takes about a good 2 to 3 hours at most. So just think about all that time that he is sitting in that lovely chair, and for him to do all that body painting for only 5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's no, no, you had premature ejaculation on that, and so.
And you didn't even get to do anything before it happened.
No.
Just, I don't know. I wish that they didn't do that with him, but at the same time, when I seen that on Raw, I sat there and I said, well, if Rollins wins, what are they going to do with Balor?
But here's the thing, though. Even though he called out the quote-unquote Demon King, who's to say that Finn Balor doesn't have another makeup that he would like to do on Sunday?
That might be cool.
Maybe, but
he hasn't, because he did Anti-Venom, he did Venom, he did obviously the Demon King, and and everything. All of his makeup that he did when he was in New Japan is basically based off of Venom. So who's to say, you know what? I'm tired of Venom. Let's do Carnage now.
Maybe he'll bust out the Matt Bentley paint.
Maybe.
Oh my God. Or come out there as Fergal Devitt.
Yes.
Like, who the fuck is this? Who is this Mark?
As long as he doesn't come out in mime paint, I'm fine with it.
I'm just gonna make it nice and easy. Seth Rollins wins first Universal Championship. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer. Last match that we got to cover, I think it's probably gonna be the main event. Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus Randy Orton. Danny, who's winning?
Randy Orton, simply because of the fact of all of Brock Lesnar's troubles as of late. It would not look good if Brock won. I think it's going to be a solid match though, but Randy Orton's getting that win.
Okay, Sudoku.
Halfway through the match, Lesnar's going to realize he's got a steroid needle hanging out of his ass. He's going to pull the needle out of his ass, slash Randy Orton across the jugular, and win the match.
Jesus.
Sierra.
Take the wheel. Honestly, when they announced this match and they were saying it's the most anticipated, I was like, you are fucking lying. Nobody asked for this. I didn't. Honestly, people are making this rumor about Goldberg. I'm at the point in my life with Randy Orton that I wouldn't mind Goldberg running down there and doing a terrible spear on Brock Lesnar just to get this shit over with. So yeah, Randy Orton, because who really cares?
Wow, cynical Sierra.
I like Brock, but it's just this is a terrible match idea, and okay, here's my thing. Brock has whipped John Cena's ass, okay? He busted up Triple H. The guy of the company. He beat the shit out of The Undertaker. Not everybody can whip The Undertaker's ass. I'm supposed to believe that Randy Orton has a chance. I'm really supposed to believe Randy Orton has a chance. See, this is why my disbelief is suspended. I can't understand. You can't do this. This is horrible.
Alrighty. Quintastic one.
Man, I had this whole bit, up. I was gonna go into a big old rant about Bobby Lashley coming out and calling himself Black Lesnar and want to run in, but I mean, I can't do it. Not for this. I mean, like Ciara said, I'm in 100% agreement. This is a guy that The Undertaker has to be booked to kick him in the balls in order to get a victory over. A guy that completely squashed your current World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania and basically no-sold a bunch of hardcore offense. Randy Orton's going to sit there and he's going to take 16 suplexes like everybody does to Lesnar, and the match is going to be over with Lesnar taking barely any offense. They might tease an RKO out of nowhere, and he'll counter it into another suplex, and then 3,000 F5s. The match is going to be over, and it's going to be yet another SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar standing tall and nobody giving a shit.
I said the same thing when it came to when they put Dean Ambrose against Brock Lesnar. I said, oh my God, this is kind of not a good idea after what you just made Brock Lesnar come off of, beating Undertaker and all that. If there was anybody in that company right now that I could honestly be like, you know what, he might give Brock a run for his money, is Samoa Joe or Kevin Owens.
Oh, sorry.
Those two, because they're hard-hitting, they can match Brock, and that's it. Anybody else, I can't see. Randy Orton, I don't know. They had to find a spot for him, which is fine, but I think this is probably the worst idea to put him in this spot. And of course, Brock's going to go on vacation, like he always does. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't have done this at all. Terrible idea.
And the reason why I groaned is that I cannot stand Samoa Joe.
Really?
I cannot stand him.
What is it?
For me, he's sloppy, he's too stiff, he doesn't know how to sell, and he's just, no. I'm never a fan of Sloppy Joe. I am so hoping for so many Shinsazas from Nakamura on Saturday. I just come on.
And see, it's funny because you don't like Samoa Joe. I don't get the thing with Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't.
Well, Nakamura I would like to see Nakamura and Lesnar not lock horns sometime in the near future. That's the match I want to see.
When you said earlier about how you don't understand the whole fascination with Dean Ambrose, the reason why is that, did you ever watch Dean Ambrose when he was in Combat Zone Wrestling or IWA Mid-South or any of the stuff in the Indies?
Yes.
Okay, so alright, fine. That's what, that's what I was trying to allude at. Did you see anything of Nakamura when he was in Japan?
Yeah, and I still didn't get it then.
Okay, well, you know what, agree to disagree. It's just, I just was never a fan.
My wife doesn't get Nakamura either, and that's why you have divorce papers on the table, so I get it.
Kevin can tell you back when we started this podcast back in 2006 when Ring of Honor was just starting out and was just becoming huge, and Samoa Joe was a champion then, he can even tell you back then that my position back 10 years ago is still Simba Sloppy Joe. I like him outside. That's the same thing with me and John Cena. I like John Cena out of the ring. I applaud everything that he does. With the Make-A-Wish Foundation, with the thing with the Mandarin Chinese when he went to when he did that press conference over in China. I applaud all the stuff he does outside of the ring. John Cena in the ring, no. 5 moves of doom, you're boring, you suck. You say the same speech over and over and over again, no. It's the same thing with Sloppy Joe. It's Samoa Joe, sorry. Outside of the ring, he's well read. I could talk to him about books for gosh knows how many hours. I could talk to him about music, whatever. Put him in the ring? No. I can't. I just can't.
But Danny, the future goes through John Cena.
I know. And the unfortunate thing is, though, is that I am, well, not unfortunate, but I am a teacher's assistant for a kindergarten class. And a lot of the kids that I deal with are John Cena fans. So it's great. I have to listen to John Cena quotes all day. But yeah, it's just.
But see, here's the thing. I've known Dean Ambrose since he was John Moxley on the Indies, and I was familiar with the style. He wrestled and everything, and I've said it here before on Angry Marks. I was not into the hardcore style, and I'm still not.
I'm not either.
And
I cannot.
And I've seen his stuff that he didn't do the hardcore style, and I still did not grasp what it is about this guy that everybody was harping on about. And it's not just him, it's so many guys on the indies. There's a lot of guys currently that everybody's hollering about that should be signed, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, why?
Like Los Ice Creams. Why aren't Los Ice Creams called up to NXT? Jesus Christ.
I mean, there's so many other guys that should be signed and are what you would consider TV ready, but instead there's other guys people champion because they do 2-3 moves that are so fascinating and they get signed. And that's why I said earlier with Apollo Crews, yeah, he's cool and it's cool certain things he could do, but that hype the internet created around that guy, now he's on the main roster and nobody sees what they're being told was so great about him. And we're going to have a lot of these guys come into that company off of hype that is actually just silence.
Yeah.
And we're going to be sitting there like, so they signed him for what? Now, like somebody like Bobby Roode or something like that. Bobby Roode, the hype that's been around him has been around him for over a decade. Since he appeared.
He's not Bobby Roode to me. He's Bobby Roode.
You know. So that him being signed, and even to like AJ Styles has been phenomenal since the first time we all seen him. Yeah. So those guys I expect to get signed. But like Nakamura, I know everybody that watches New Japan is like, you know, call him the god of the gods, and
right.
I watch New Japan sometimes. I'm not like a steady follower of it, but I remember the first couple of times I watched it, I was just like, I don't get it about this guy because there's other guys here that are better than him. And people just grasped on and, you know, held on to him and fell in love with him. But my thing is, okay, now he's in NXT. We're all getting to see this guy on, you know, our television screen as opposed to staying up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to watch New Japan. When that newness and the coolness fails off of him and they sign a newer guy that's even better, are we all going to still be this fascinated with this guy? I don't think so.
Well, that's the problem going on with NXT right now, is the fact that there's so many indie darlings signed on there. Guys like, you know, Bobby Roode or Austin Aries are kind of getting lost in the shuffle because there's so many big popular names. Like, you know, not everyone can get the push for the world title all the time.
Yeah, and it's just like they're just signing guys because, you know, so-and-so said this guy is cool. Like Austin Aries. I like Austin Aries. I've been for years, even before he became, you know, this great heel in TNA, even when he was Austin Starr. Yeah, those days. But the way they're booking him in NXT is the worst thing they could have did to this guy. Like, he wins off a fluke over Baron Corbin. Now he's all of a sudden this heel. It's just like, they don't know what to do with this guy because they're signing these guys off of hype. Yeah. And not really understanding that in a year or so, it's going to be so crowded. It's going to be Evolve down at NXT. We're going to have Evolve, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and New Japan at NXT.
I think that's what they want.
And it's going to be kind of scary because you're going to be like, who the fuck is this? Like, you signed him? Him too? Like, it's going to be very scary. And, you know, a lot of those guys, hopefully they bring Smojo up to the main roster before you know it. But if they don't, he's going to get lost in all that.
Right.
Alrighty, so I think the only person who hasn't answered this question yet is Sudoku.
No, he did.
Well, I answered first.
Leslie is going to rip out the syringe from his ass /
That's right. Okay, I'm lost. So,
in the face of that answer, I couldn't do like a comedic spiel. I just stole the show.
All right. So Jason's answered, Sierra's answered, Danny's answered, and we've got no comment from Quintastic One.
Oh no, I did my comment.
Okay.
Everyone's done their rant that Brock Lesnar's going to win and nobody gives a shit.
I'm sorry. This has blown my mind so much. I got completely lost trying to keep up with everybody's answers. I'm going to say Randy Orton wins. I'm going to say Randy Orton wins because in light of all these people getting suspended for wellness policy violations, for the shit with Roman Reigns, I think it would just look bad for the company. The company would face an endless stream of shit if Brock Lesnar goes over. And I realize that's bad to say considering the history of Randy Orton. But I don't think people are going to remember that as much because that's pretty far in the past at this point, and Brock Lesnar's still fresh. So
I wouldn't say. I mean, we might as well form a new stable called a Nation of Violation. Group them all together. Paige, Eva Marie, Albert Del Rio, Randy Orton, the champion, the leader. Multiple violations.
Well, Roman Reigns is the latest one, so maybe he might be the leader.
Yeah, he'd be the second.
Or he'll vie for the top spot with Randy Orton, that's where the conflict will be.
Yeah, that'd be like the new Nexus. Violators all over the place.
Something I wanted to mention here real quick. Did you happen to see that epic match between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler from SmackDown?
Mm-mm.
Where the Miz, where Ziggler dresses as Colonel Sanders and the Miz dresses as a chicken?
Jesus.
Nobody has seen this footage. It was a dark match that's now leaked onto the internet. Apparently, they recorded a special match for a KFC promo. Ziggler comes out dressed as the Colonel. Miz comes out dressed as the San Diego chicken. And the ring is all decked out in KFC advertising. The Tritantron's got KFC advertising all over it. Really great match that everybody missed.
That's a shame.
This is what happens when they start selling marijuana at KFCs.
Well, that's not an actual thing, but I said if that ever happens, we'll never see Jordan Garber on this show again because he'll start working 50 hours a week until he's saved up enough money to start a KFC franchise.
Yeah.
We would never see that kid again. So,
Manitoba Fried Reefer, eh?
There you go. We're running long tonight. We've had so much fun here. We got a couple other things to cover here real quick. And, if anybody needs to drop off the line, I can understand. If you want to stay on, go right ahead. We had 3 matches from the second round of the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. Everybody's joining on for that, or anybody wanting to leave?
Actually, I was going to call it a night.
Alrighty, so before you leave, Danny, got anything you want to plug?
Well, I do have my YouTube channel, which is obviously youtube.com/Danny Suicide Photo. That's the only channel that's the only thing on my social media that I do not have the same name for. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the same name, Joyzy Danny, JoiseYDani. I also have my blog, which is It Is a Joyzy Way of Thinking.blogspot.com. And I hope to be on again soon.
Alrighty, well, thanks for stopping by tonight, Danny. It was lovely to hear your voice again. And
yes.
we will try to talk to you again soon.
Cool.
Alrighty, have a good night.
You too, have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Alright, everybody else staying on?
Are we doing this as, reviewing what happened, or as predictions for the matches?
Reviewing what happened.
Yeah, it's just brief.
I haven't seen it yet, so I probably wouldn't be the best, person to be on this segment.
Alrighty, do you want to stay on for discussion of the G1 Climax then?
Is that again reviewing? Because I haven't seen it yet.
That's a review too.
Well, do you want anything spoiled, Mr. Quintastic One?
I don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit. Alright, Sierra, are you on board?
She got deleted again.
Matt Hardy is running wild on this.
She gets deleted. She gets deleted more often than the Quintastic One's browsing history from his wife.
Ooh.
Ouch. It's true, though.
Earth to Sierra.
Yes.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
We couldn't hear you. Are you staying on board for the rest of the show?
I actually was going to skip out because I didn't watch the CWC. I'm so far back on it. I need somebody to yell at me about it. It's sad.
Damn it, Sierra!
I really need to catch it.
Start watching your good wrestling.
See, that's what I need. I need somebody to yell at me.
Matter of fact, I'm kicking you off the show now. Go right to the network right now. Start watching. I want to report next week.
Well, jeez. I'm on retirement from writing.
You don't have to publish it. You just have to send me a note.
Okay, I'll just say it was good. It was fine. It was dandy.
I'm not believing that shit.
It was better.
Hell, Dandy's from the CWC?
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, before you go, Sierra, give your plugs. Let everybody know how they can find you. Unless you're hiding. You know, so I understand there's at least one ex-husband who does have an EPO against you, so maybe you don't want to publish that, but...
I actually don't have any husbands anymore. Isn't that crazy?
All alone?
I used to have... I'm kind of in the process of snatching a few again, but yeah, I'm all divorced out.
All right. Well, then my only advice for you is this time when you restock the house with furniture, make sure you get the tables from New Japan.
Yeah, because I can't have nobody double foot stomping a table. I just, and I'll make sure Ric Flair's never invited because he's not crashing through any of the tables. So, yeah, I'm going to make sure that all furniture is steel, unbreakable objects, and if somebody tries to crash through it, it'll just do like it does in Macho Man. Whoa,
There you go. All right, so how are we going to find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at CIANRA92189. I haven't changed that. I've kept it. I thought about changing it, but I said people might get lost. So you can find me there, and I tweet out links to everything I do. I'm on Pro Wrestling Ponderings. Like I said earlier, I do 2 podcasts, and I'm taking a break from writing, but I'm still around. I talk wrestling, music, anything particular. I mean,
all right,
doesn't matter.
Well, there you go. Sierra, thanks for joining us again. It was lovely to hear your voice again also.
It's lovely to talk to you guys again. It's been forever, and we got to do this more often.
Yes, we do. We will try to make that happen, Captain.
Come back anytime, Sierra.
And next time we have this, tell Frank he can't leave. That's all I'm doing.
All righty. There you go. There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
Alrighty, so getting to some CWC action, we had the second series of matches for the second round. I don't remember if first match on the card was
Akira Tozawa versus Mini Rainbow Sheamus.
Oh yeah, that's right, Akira Tozawa versus Jack Gallagher, and my God, this match pissed me off so much for so many reasons. Everybody,
you and me both.
Everybody is so in love with Jack Gallagher. And I understand. I get it. He is a fucking whiz in the ring. And he is an amazing showman. I like that about him. I really do. But just the character he's portraying here, I've not seen him work anywhere else, mind you. The character that he is portraying here, he's obviously a baby face. He's over with the crowd, but he just comes off as so fucking smug.
Smarmy and cocky, yeah.
He is so self-confident. Oh, it just makes me sick. I want to throw up. If I threw up all over him, I wouldn't be able to tell it because it would blend right in with his trunks.
I want to knock him out and shave that fucking mustache off his face.
Yeah. Quintas, what do you feel about this guy?
Well, I think he's a natural fit for them to come in and save the vaudevillains.
Well, yeah, you
just bring that guy in and just I don't know, have him be their official, coach, new partner, somewhere inspiration to bring them back into relevancy because the man is so over that his residual popularity might just rub off on the vaudevillains, hopefully, or they'll just all be dragged down the same 1920s ship a la Titanic.
Indeed. This match pissed me off, not because of Gallagher himself. I didn't like the way this match was booked, honestly. I don't like the fact that Gallagher went over as strongly as he did for 99% of the match. I'm just not a big fan of beatdowns like that, and let's be really honest, this was a beatdown of Akira Tozawa. I mean, he just could not get any traction for more than 30 seconds at any given time in this match, and just when you thought he was going over, just when you thought he was getting the upper hand, Jack Gallagher just literally prances his way out of whatever the fuck. and the crowd just eats it up.
Culminated when my frustration with Gallagher and with the match and with the booking all kind of culminated when he fucking hogtied Tozawa into this little neatly wrapped bow package in the middle of the ring, and then contemplates about it, and then kicks Tozawa in the ass.
And he takes forever doing it too, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I was okay with the match up to that point. It was still a one-sided ass kicking, and Gallagher was pissing me off, but I was still fine with that overall because everything had just kind of fit in with the gimmick. That's fine, but once he tied up Tozawa like that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a fucking joke now. This is now
it to the next level of pissed offedness for me too.
It really insulted me as a wrestling fan. And then it didn't stop from there. It just kept getting more. They just kept piling it on more and more and more and more. But
I do want to give credit where credit is due, and I do want to give credit to Akira Tozawa for really, really selling the leg from the submissions that Mini Rainbow Sheamus was slapping on. Tozawa was just masterfully selling that leg like he couldn't put any weight on it, and even with the winning German suplex after he won and he goes to stand back up, even before that move and then after the move, he's still favoring that leg and hobbling, and he did a masterful job selling the leg.
Yeah, I mean, the end of this match made me both cheer and rant at the same time. I cheered because fuck yeah, Tozawa eliminated Gallagher with that suplex and that pin out of nowhere, so that made me happy. But at the same time, it pisses me off because if you're gonna book a guy 99 to just completely kick ass 99% of the time, god damn it, just let him win. Just go ahead and finish him off.
Unless his name is Mini Rainbow Sheamus or Hiroki Goto. It's like Mini Rainbow Sheamus has Goto heat with me, and just regardless, I want to see him lose. I want to see him out. I don't want to see him on my television again, and now I don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad for that. But it pissed me off the way they booked this, the way they did. I think it should have been a more strongly equal match. And if they'd done that, I would have been happy with either guy winning, to be honest. But if you're...
Yeah, and this is another one where the Full Sail fans really pissed me off, too, with them being, 100% behind Jack Gallagher and nobody really knowing who Akira Tozawa is. And it's like, really? And you guys consider yourselves smarks? Fuck off.
Yeah, so just not really happy with this, but Akira Tozawa, he will go on into the tournament. He will be facing Grand Metalik, who defeated Tajiri the week before by pinfall.
Week, yeah.
Yep. So that was a good match as well. I really look forward to Tozawa versus Grand Metalik. That's going to be a very good match. Second match on the card was Ho Ho Loon.
Ho Ho Loon, Merry Christmas versus Noam Dar from Scotland.
Yes. And this was pretty much second match in a row of Asian guy versus UK guy. And I figured, if Tozawa was going over in the first one, I predicted Noam Dar was going to go over in the second one, and he did, and this was a fine match.
There's times when I say this is a match, and that's about all I can say about Ho Ho Loon versus Noam Dar. It was a match. It didn't piss me off like the Gallagher match did, but it didn't wow me like the Grand Metalik versus Tajiri match from last week did either. It was a match. It was there. It was serviceable. It served its purpose. Somebody advanced, but it didn't wow me.
Yeah. I'll agree there. But I did get a lot more, I did come to respect Noam Dar a lot more. He won his first match against, Gerv Shira, back a couple of weeks ago. That match just was a little bit the same way. I was not particularly wowed, especially with a lot of the other matches, but Noam Dar, I'm respecting the guy a little bit more, so, good for him. Ho Ho Loon, I'm assuming he is going to go back to,
China?
To, Hong Kong. I wish him the best. I hope that he gains a lot of limelight out of this. I hope his wrestling promotion he runs over in Hong Kong, I hope it does well. I hope this gives him a boost and the work over there as well. Definitely not enough wrestling in China. I hope the fans over there absolutely appreciate that a talent that they have in a guy like Ho Ho Lun.
Yeah, I definitely was impressed by what I saw with Ho Ho Lun. And yeah, like I was saying earlier in the chat, I'd like them to sign him just so there'd be a guy on the roster named Ho Ho.
Yeah, there you go. But then I countered with the joke, well, they did have a Ho Ho, and they just put her on a 30-day suspension today.
All the more reason you need to sign Ho Ho then.
I know. Our main event for the night, Brian Kendrick coming in against Tony Nese. I thought this was a really good match. I really liked this match. Tony Nese really had Brian Kendrick's number here. Kendrick was never really out of it, in my opinion, but Kendrick, he didn't have the match this time that he had against Raul Mendoza in the previous match, where he just completely fucked that guy up. He had to scrap a little bit more on this, and I liked it. I didn't like
I'm gonna go with your philosophy of the mini Rainbow Sheamus match, where you had a guy, Tony Nese, just completely dominate a much smaller and less physically imposing guy like this is Spinal Tap adult Spanky, and in a real fight, Nese would just straight up kill Spanky, and to have Spanky just slap this submission hold on that he put on twice earlier in the match, and then suddenly the third time Tony Nese is going to tap out to it, I'm sorry, I just can't suspend my disbelief for that. It's just like, not working for me.
Well, see, this is where I'm going to disagree with you here on this. And it's because Tony Nese absolutely more physically imposing, but Brian Kendrick has been in this business way longer. He's got a whole lot more experience, and that's the character that he is portraying here now. He is a veteran journeyman who has been at the top of his game as high as he could anyway, with WWE Tag Team Championship Gold. He's held titles in other promotions all over the world. You know, he's a very knowledgeable guy, and the style of wrestling that he does now, we've seen many veteran journeyman wrestlers employ this in the later days of their career. They're a little bit more wily. They're not out there anymore to necessarily earn the respect of the fans because they've already had that. They're not really fighting for titles so much because they've already been there and done that. And they, you know, at this point, they're basically just fighting for a paycheck more than anything. So they're not getting paid by the minute here to do it. So they will go to whatever means they need to pull out a win. And sometimes it's a little shady, and sometimes it's a little underhanded. And I think that works very well for Brian Kendrick. I think that worked here in this match well, because like I said, on one hand, it looks like Nese really had his number, but on the other hand, I don't think Kendrick was really ever out of it at any given point. He just kind of restrains himself until he found opportunity. And right at the end of the match, he really found his opportunity when Nese fucked up, didn't make sure that that Kendrick was beaten down enough, went for the high risk spot for the flash, and it cost him. And it cost him bad. He flapjacked right in the middle of the ring, breath knocked out of him, and Brian Kendrick was able to slap that submission on to a guy who's hurt, not able to react, and that was just it. But at the same time, I don't like these last minute wins from guys.
It seemed forced to me, and it didn't really seem to tell the story that you're trying to convey, that Kendrick is this wily and wise ring veteran who, knows the ring and commands every inch of the ring. It was kind of, okay, yeah, he comes off the top rope and Kendrick rolls out of the way and slaps on a submission. And no, Kendrick wasn't out of it, but I mean, he was really hitting moves out of desperation, and it was an out of opportunity.
Right.
And he was being more opportunistic than he was, a seasoned ring general and a seasoned veteran. And yeah, he didn't seem to be, this cagey, wily veteran. He seemed to be somebody taking advantage of opportunities that came along and just barely holding on by the skin of his teeth.
And that's fine. I definitely don't mind that either. I just really wish instead of going immediately for this finish, you had him soften up Nice with one or two more moves before he got the pin. If he'd done that,
the tap out just looks so contrived. He puts him in this really weak looking choke, and it's like tap, and it's like, wait, you had the same choke wrenched in a lot harder twice earlier in the match, and you fought out of it, but it's wrenched on really loosely now, and in a second you're going to tap out, and I just didn't buy it.
Yeah, like I said, I just think it needed a few more moves, and then if you went for that submission, I would have been absolutely fine with that.
So yeah, Brian Kendrick is now on my shit list, and he can fall into that black hole too with Gallagher and.
There you go. Brian Kendrick moves on in the tournament. He will be facing Kota Ibushi, who defeated a very game Cedric Alexander right at the 15-minute mark last week.
And that should be the end of Brian Kendrick right there.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. Next week's matches that we're going to see, we're going to see TJ Perkins versus Johnny Gargano. We are going to see Rich Swann versus Lince Dorado. And we are going to see Drew Gulak versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Should be some good matches. So Lince Dorado and Mascara Dorada are still in the tournament.
Yep, there we go. So, alrighty, that was Cruiserweight Classic. A Quintastic One, you have anything you want to add on this?
Nothing in particular. Yeah, pretty much, I haven't seen the show yet. Obviously, I didn't want to comment too much on what's been going on. Well, in terms of predictions, word around the grapevine seems to be that guys like Zack Sabre Jr. or Kota Ibushi weren't willing to sign full-time deals with WWE, so a lot of people are assuming that the whole tournament's going to go to Grand Metalik. So I'm definitely looking forward to, after this show, tuning in to see what happened this week, and also looking forward to the CWC in the future.
I'm still willing to bet that either Zack Sabre Jr. or Ibushi wins this tournament here. That's fine. I've already heard through the grapevine, through people on the inside, that Cedric Alexander has been offered a contract and will sign it. Johnny Gargano was offered a contract, and I think that was pretty much a foredrawn conclusion that he was definitely going to sign if offered, just based on what I've seen from coming out of his final matches in Evolve there. Tommaso Ciampa offered a contract. If he turns it down, he's fucking stupid. I don't think he's stupid. He's a man I greatly admired. He has busted his ass to get to this level. He's definitely going to sign at this point if he hasn't already. There's that there. I'm not going to be disappointed if Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr. Don't sign. I really don't see a lot what they can offer for WWE right now, and I also don't see what WWE really offers them versus what they can continue to do outside, independent of WWE.
And the one thing I really hope that they don't do with guys like Grand Metalik, if they sign, is to make them unmasked like they did with La Sombra.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got a masked wrestler, keep the masked wrestler a masked wrestler.
I agree. And, that's in the case of masked wrestlers, that's really the gimmick that brought them to the dance. Just stick with it.
Now, you did mention you guys are going to be covering the G1 Climax, and that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much last on my list of things.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take care of that, as my 3-year-old wants to play with me, and we're going to do some duplexing of our own. So I'm going to go ahead and drop out here as well.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him taking some bumps. He's tough, man. Just beat the piss out of him. Don't joke job to him. It's good. It's good for his character. So, all right, Quintastic One. How's anybody catching up with you before you go?
Well, I suppose if you're interested, I do have my Twitter account. I use it mostly for like an in-character role-playing personality these days, but if you want to check out twitter.com/Quintastic1, that's O-N-E, not the number 1, then you can go and add me on Twitter and follow me on Twitter, and I'll follow back. Other than that, only other plug that I like to do is not something for myself, but just go ahead and redirecting everyone to the www.joyfulheartfoundation.org. It's a foundation that's dedicated towards the healing and protecting of women and children that have been in homes with domestic violence. Was started by Mariska Hargitay, who plays Olivia Benson in the Law & Order Special Victims Unit. and I think it's a worthy organization of people's support, and I hope that people go to that website and donate to their cause. Until next time, stay just quintastic.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for appearing once again. It was great to hear your voice as well. All righty. So, what we have left is the Grade 1 Climax Tournament Finals, and I really wish we had Abby or Steve on the line here, because I'll be honest, that I've been so busy, so worn out. I missed most of the matches on the show purposely. Just couldn't bring myself to keep staying up that late to try to keep up with it. So I just kind of skipped to like the last half of the card. So Jason,
on the final day. Yeah.
I mean, this was long. These guys are beat up. We're wore down. So lead us through here and tell us what happened.
Sure. Yeah, and kind of preface what happened in the finals. What set up the final was we had Hiroki Goto win his match, and he had a very slim hope of advancing. He would need Tanahashi and Okada to go to a draw or a double DQ in order to advance to the finals, and that never happens in New Japan, except this year because Gato wanted to be a complete dick, I guess. And yeah, Tanahashi versus Okada for Block A went to a time limit draw. The unthinkable happened. Hiroki Goto wins Block A, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like, ugh. So that was horrible. Block B was a little better. They had it come down to the final match where it was Naito versus Omega. And basically the winner of that match would advance if that went to a time limit draw, Naito would advance because he had more points. And they were teasing that it was going to go to a time limit draw, but it didn't. And Kenny Omega ended up winning it clean with, a minute and change or something left. So it wasn't as close as it could have been, but that set up the final for Hiroaki Goto versus Kenny Omega. And unfortunately with the way it was set up, it really overshadowed all the great matches that Kenny Omega had. Had Kenny Omega gone up against a guy like a Tanahashi or like a Kazuchika Okada, it'd be like, oh great, let's see if Omega can hold his own against these top New Japan superstars. But as it was, you kind of have the guy with Roman Reigns heat and Hiroki Goto advancing, and more than anything else, I wanted to see Goto lose more than I wanted to see Omega win. It wasn't really me cheering for Omega as much as it was me rooting against Goto in the finals. I wanted this schlub to lose. He didn't deserve to be there in the first place, and yeah, it was a decent match that went on, and I'm glad Kenny Omega won. It shocked the hell out of me. He's the first Gaijin to ever win the G1 Climax, and it was a thing of beauty. And after the match, it's like, I know he was fluent in Japanese, but his character almost never shows it. But he picks up the mic and does his spiel in English, and then he says, "Oh, but you fans here can't understand me." And then he starts kicking it in fluent Japanese, which was just amazing. There's usually a G1 flag that gets waved by the winner of the G1, and Tanahashi was waving it last year, and the flagpole broke, and that was kind of funny because Tanahashi just fucking sucks. But yeah, instead of doing that, the Bullet Club hits the ring and brings a Bullet Club flag, and Kenny Omega ends up waving the Bullet Club flag around after the win, and that was kind of poetic. And he says, people thought the Bullet Club is dead. Well, we're not. The Bullet Club is for life. People thought the Elite was dead. We're not. We're for life. And it really does breathe new life into the Bullet Club, having Kenny Omega win the tournament, win the briefcase, and to have a shot at the IWGP, what I guess is going to be the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 11 on January 4th, 2017, although he could challenge for the Intercontinental title with that briefcase or the Never Open title. It's up to him what title he wants to choose, but I'm betting he's going after Okada, assuming Okada is still the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion come Wrestle Kingdom 11, which I don't see anyone taking the belt away from him before that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think New Japan has really set themselves up well. Because after Wrestle Kingdom last year, and as great a show that was, it just all seemed like things were starting to fall apart with them. You know, you've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who went to WWE, at AJ Styles, and Gallows and Anderson all go to
good
WWE.
Reason it was falling apart, because they're, you know, 4 of their top guys just jumped ship.
Yeah.
Within months of each other, yeah.
Yeah, not very long at all. So, you know, it definitely left a huge glut, but I think it was just brilliant having Kenny Omega step up and take control of the Bullet Club and pretty much announce, you know what, we are doing a house cleaning here, and, you know, I'm leading this charge, and it has just been so brilliantly booked. And I think
not only stepping up and taking charge of the Bullet Club, but also stepping up, you know, at some point during the last year too, and saying, you know, I am no longer a junior heavyweight. I am, you know, now going after the heavyweight titles. And he, at one point, held the IWGP Intercontinental title before losing it to Michael Elgin in that ladder match that was just sick. But Kenny Omega is someone who has really stepped up his game on all levels, and nothing really showcased that more than his B-block matches during the G1 Climax, especially his match against another guy who really raised his game in Yoshihashi. I mean, that's just kind of the epitome of 2 guys who just wrestled way better than they have any right to.
Yeah, and that I was getting ready to say that the one thing that I think really elevated Kenny Omega to the next level was saying, I am not a junior heavyweight anymore. You know, I'm not, you know, I got all the respect I'm going to get there. I'm going up to the next level, and I don't give a fuck if any of you like it or not, or I don't give a fuck if you think you can do it, I can do it or not, because I know I can do it. And then not taking any more junior heavyweight matches and putting himself against a guy like Elgin, that really, that elevated his game quite a bit. You know,
it did to a certain extent, and it's kind of hard to gauge how good Omega is, and I think it plays more to the tournament really played more to Omega's strength than that you're seeing him not night in and night out, but you're seeing him pretty much for the most part every other night working heavyweight matches against various heavyweight competitors of different styles, and you can really see Omega shine and excel versus different types of heavyweights.
Yeah, and by the end of the G1 tournament, you could tell he earned the respect of the fans. But I think what's really now put him over was the fact that he delivered the end of his promo in Japanese. Because
not only that, but yeah, he not only did he deliver that promo in Japanese, he was cutting a heel promo in Japanese. He was, you know, putting himself over, putting the Bullet Club over, you know, kind of being condescending to the fans, who in turn were cheering him just because he was speaking in Japanese.
Yeah, he, you know, even though he was the heel, he earned their respect. And
yeah, I mean, the fans were impressed by his work in the ring, as well as, holy shit, this guy can speak fluent Japanese.
Well, I mean, you know, he was before, and then when he joined the Bullet Club, he stopped speaking all Japanese, not because he didn't know Japanese, but, you know, he was insistent that, you know,
it didn't fit his character.
Yeah, he was just going to be a total dick to him. I tell you,
and that's why I think it was masterful. The first time that he breaks out being Japanese, he is being a dick, but he's doing it in Japanese.
Yeah, and of course, you know, afterwards he goes and gives his promo again. Afterwards,
at the press conference.
The press conference, yeah, all back in English again. So, you know, they're giving him the questions in Japanese, and he's just giving it right back to him in English. So,
which is great, because he clearly understands the questions that are coming in Japanese, and then turning around and answering in English. And one of the reporters asked a question that he just wasn't feeling at all. It's just like, next question.
Yeah, so I mean
he completely blew one of the guys off. So yeah, he was back in full dickish English speaking heel mode, but still showing that he understands Japanese, because the questions were coming in Japanese and not being translated.
Yeah, another thing that I think G1 Climax has pretty much shown, the change in Naito, with forming of Los Ignorables and everything that's gone on with them. The night before, leading up to Naito's match against Kenny Omega. I mean, oh my God, the crowd was just so into Naito. I mean, I don't know what he said in his promo afterwards, but the crowd just ate him up. And then coming out that final night in that 6-man tag with Los Ignorables, the roof just blew off. And, and this is the middle of the card.
It's interesting because Naito is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and a lot of times in interviews, he'll tell the fans, I'm a bad guy, I want you to boo me, and it doesn't always work out that way. And what it is, it's Naito has finally gotten over organically as a heel. When they first started this Los Ingobernables gimmick when he came back from Mexico, it felt very forced, it felt very contrived, and he was getting booed. But he was getting booed because he was over-healing it, and now his heel character has had time to develop, and he's kind of filled into that role, and the fans appreciate him being the heel that he is.
Now, speaking of appreciation, here's something that I really appreciated. I am so glad they brought back English commentary for this, because
we're going to agree to disagree on this one.
Well, for this specific reason, Kevin Kelly did a great job of telling the story of Naito since he came back from Mexico, and pretty much summarizing, what it meant for him to come back and to be this heel character in order to earn the respect that he needed, to break all the rules, to really find himself and to really push himself as a wrestler just to see where he could go. And the end result in that is, he's still a heel, but just like with Kenny Omega, he has the respect of the fans now.
But there's kind of the more interesting, racial overtone backstory that they don't tell you, where when he's kind of looking up and he does that thing where it looks like he's looking through a periscope, that's basically a slur against Westerners and their round eyes.
Right.
Which you don't hear, but it's kind of cool to see a heel do that. But I really hated the English commentary. This was one of the low points of the G1 Climax for me. They made just simple, stupid mistakes, like calling Tenzan. They called him Kojima. They called Evil Naito at one point. They said Wrestle Kingdom 11 is going to take place on July 4th, 2017. I have no problem with Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino's knowledge of wrestling, which is fine. What's really lacking is somebody who knows New Japan, who knows the product, who knows what's going on currently and how New Japan works, and is familiar with the product right now.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of that's definitely a weak spot. But I think even weaker is the fact that they don't have an English commentary team until Ring of Honor comes into town.
Which really sucks because Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino are very well versed in Ring of Honor stuff, and they compare things to like the Code of Honor. But when it comes to current storylines that are going on, they just don't get them quite right. They're just off. They just don't quite know what's going on in New Japan at the moment, and they do their best to kind of put the pieces together, but they don't always put those pieces together right. And as somebody who watches pretty much every show live on New Japan World, it kind of grates on me when that happens. And I mean, it got so bad in the Block A and the Block B finals, their commentary was so bad, I actually decided to watch in Japanese for the G1 Climax finals because I just couldn't take it. I'm just like, this is so bad, I'm going to watch in Japanese because you guys, even with Rocky Romero there, it still sucked.
Yeah. And really, I really wish they could see the value that they could be tapping into if they fine-tuned this product for an English audience. Not the wrestling product itself, but just the way that it's delivered on the front end. I mean, they need an English commentary team that's there full-time, that knows what's going on, that's able to tell the stories to the audience. They need somebody to be able to translate these promos. They need English language promos for all the vignettes, and they need a actual English language website, not just a Google translation. They need a word for word, picture for picture English version of the site.
A way to search their archive without having to search on Wikipedia for how somebody's name is spelled in kanji. So you can copy and paste it back into the search engine on the archives to find like great Muda matches. Yeah.
Yeah, not even just that, but you need a good multimedia website to help sell this better to an English audience. And I think if they put the time and the effort and really just a little bit of money, it's not going to be a lot of money, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that a little bit. And I think you could expand your audience so much more. And I think they could probably do it to a point where there might even be a huge upside profit to bringing a New Japan show to America once or twice a year. Maybe even like a week-long tour. Even if
that's one of the things where it's if I was running New Japan, it's like the one thing I would do is start putting out feelers too. The handful of fans on Twitter who tweet about New Japan in English to see if they wanted to work on, the English language site or, offer them a real lowball offer to do commentary. But not only English, I think another avenue New Japan should really explore too is Spanish. They should have a Spanish commentary team for some of the bigger shows that they do and a website front in Spanish too.
Well, maybe, but at the same time, a lot of Spanish speakers, especially, if you're targeting Mexico and, the Central America, a lot of them already speak English anyway. So I don't think that, Spanish would be good, but I don't think it would be as important as having an English language website. Because
I guess another way to look at that too from the website is Google Translate will do a lot better job of English to Spanish than it would Japanese to Spanish.
You know what? You're right. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right on the money on that. But I think it, if you did that, you could open up an opportunity to do, even just do a West Coast tour, hit Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Spokane, Washington, and Seattle, Washington, and, Portland, Oregon.
Might as well hit Honolulu on the way over too.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it to hit Honolulu, because it's way out there in the ocean. If you're taking a flight from Japan, you're doing the arc, pretty much from Japan over Alaska and coming down that way. Hell, hit British Columbia while you're at it.
I'd even say they could probably make a lot of money on an East Coast tour too, doing places like New York and Philadelphia, all the way on down to like Miami.
Maybe, maybe hit, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, or Tampa, Miami. That could probably do too, but it might be just a little bit too much to fly them all the way over.
A lot of travel, yeah.
To the East Coast, or maybe just split it up like that once, do 1 week long tour on the West Coast and then like 6 months later, do another tour over on the East Coast.
But yeah, I think that is a huge untapped potential market right there. I think tickets would fly if New Japan ran shows in the United States.
And let me just say this right now, by God, do not sign Jim Ross. I'm sorry. I've not seen the Access TV shows, but just hearing you and Abby talk about them and other fans as well, it would just disgrace the product. And I don't think Jim Ross is the guy to be doing that.
Well, it's kind of an even more extreme version, of what my complaints are about Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino, in that, Jim Ross is even less involved with day-to-day wrestling. Like, he's not, doing commentary on Ring of Honor shows like Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino are. And yeah, Jim Ross is again equally not familiar with the current New Japan product and what's going on with the wrestlers and the storylines and the business and the back end things. So yeah, Jim Ross is not really the guy you want to bring in unless you want to have him on for like some kind of pregame show or have him as like, an MC for the night, maybe a ring announcer or something. But yeah, definitely not on play-by-play. Maybe as a color commentary guy, but no, not as your main play-by-play guy.
All right. So just real quick here before we wrap this up, get off the air. Who's your dream commentary team, do you think? that out of everybody that's available out there right now?
Oh boy, that is a tough one. I think if I know of any Japanese wrestlers who speak English. One guy that I would like to see brought in just to see how he does, a former IWGP Heavyweight Champion from the United States, Scott Norton.
I don't know.
I'd like to see how Scott Norton would do on commentary because he's been there before. I like Matt Stryker when he's been there too. I mean, I'd like to see maybe like a Matt Stryker and a Josh Barnett team.
I could do Matt Stryker and Josh Barnett. I could also do Josh Matthews somewhere.
Yeah,
in there.
That wouldn't be bad either.
The three of them, or any two of those in a mix, I think would be great.
Because I think that's the one thing that I prefer about Matt Stryker to Kevin Kelly or to a Steve Corino is that Stryker goes that extra mile to research what's been going on. And when he did, the Wrestle Kingdom 10 commentary, he was aware of what was going on in New Japan. He was even trying to get Yoshitatsu involved, which failed miserably. But yeah, it's like somebody who goes that extra mile to know what's going on currently with the product just makes a world of difference.
What would you think about getting Michael Chiavello mixed into that?
I'm not familiar with who he is, Michael. So where do I know the name from?
Well, he does commentary for a lot of MMA shows. He was involved with Pride for many years, but he's covered a lot of pro wrestling too. Especially a lot of the stuff that ended up being like mixed pro wrestling and MMA shows, and with like K1 and stuff. He was the voice. He's out of Australia. He does a lot of shows in Japan. So
okay, so he's in close proximity there, being in Australia, same hemisphere anyway.
Yeah, I think having Michael Chiavello there would definitely be good. But Michael Chiavello is tied up with Access TV as well, so
Mike Tenay and Don West. No.
You know what? I could get behind Mike Tenay.
Tenay, yes. Don West, I don't think would be right for.
I mean, Don West is a great mark out commentator. I think he would just feel a little bit lost in Japan. Besides, he's got a full-time job anyway, so he's real happy with that. So I'm not going to begrudge him.
But yeah, Mike Tenay would not be bad, but you'd need at least one and probably two other guys in the booth with him.
Yeah, but I definitely respect Mike Tenay. Get him away from a stupid TNA character. Just let him be an announcer again, and I think he's fine.
Indeed.
So, all right, that pretty much wraps up this 3-hour episode of Thursday Night AMP. Of course, back in the days when we first started, we'd often go 3.5 hours.
Fitting that episode 500 goes long.
We learned our lesson there to try to keep shows to 2 hours for sure. But it was fun tonight. So I thank you, Jason, for being on the line with me tonight.
And yeah, I mean, thank you guys for, having me for 2 separate runs here with Angry Marks. And I can remember it's like when I kind of went off the air the last time, there were just so many people who were on AMP. It was Sierra, it was you, it was Stevie, it was Nikolai. I mean, it was just like, it seemed like there were 50 people doing the Thursday Night AMP at that point.
Yeah, we definitely have had a lot of people come through, and let me just give some shout outs to everybody before we go. We've got Raw Reaction, and over the years, you've had myself and Frank Vaughn starting off on that show. We had Chris Judd, who came in and helped fill in. We had Alex Goff, and now we've got Angry Tenzai and Big Vic leading that show. They've actually been the longest running pair of hosts on the Raw Reaction, so they are just kicking it hardcore and they're loving it every week. So very glad to have them on with us. Tuesday nights, our main show that we had for several years was one I was very proud of because it was really my first show that I put together completely myself, Ring the Bell. That was good. And then we had Tuesday Night AMP with Frank Vaughn and Sierra, which, of course, now I forgot to mention, of course, the Ring the Bell, that got to be just so much. We had to split all that up. So it ended up being, I forgot it ended up being Frank Vaughn and Sierra doing a Tuesday night AMP show together. And then we split off Seth Draken and Mike Poulin to do the Impact Implosion. And they're still running strong in the air. By the way, no episode this week because Seth Draken went to Riff Tracks. He'll be back next week. I think it's going to end up being like a triple show for him and Mike Poulin.
Wow.
But Tuesday,
I don't envy them at all.
Yeah, Tuesday nights we now have the Undisputed Wrestling Show with the show executive producer and main booker of talent, Mr. Rick Craig. You've got the Bearded Wonder, Zane Paisley. We've got the Morning Star, Will Huckabee. We've had with us Q-Ball Carmichael. We've had Drew Skills, who has just left the show as of this week. We thank him very much for his service. We've got Jason Schwartz coming in to fill his spot. He'll start making some appearances here in the near future. We have got the Sign Guy, who's been with us for several shows now, also helping us with that show. And all of them do their due diligence and do their part to help bring on new guests. So if you want to listen to some of not only the legends of professional wrestling, but up-and-coming talent, and listen to their stories and what they're bringing to the business, you definitely want to check it out every Tuesday night. Wednesday nights, we've got Glove Up or Shut Up with Stevie J and another veteran of Thursday night AMP, Peter H. I wish Peter had been able to be here tonight. Always great listening to his voice. They break it down, the MMA world, every Wednesday night. We've already covered Thursday nights, and there's so many people we didn't even get to mention here. Thursday night AMP, you had Big D, you had DJ Compleo. By God, I can't think of
Nikolai.
how many people. Yeah, well, I was gonna get to Nikolai's too. Yeah, you had Nikolai. We've had Jeff. I can't even remember what nickname Jeff went by. My brain is fried at this point. But they went on to do SmackDown Rundown along with Sierra. By God, just so many people have come through Thursday nights. I have already forgotten more than we've kept it, and everybody has done a great job contributing to the show in one way or another. Rowan Unrau, forgot to mention him. Garrett Gonzalez, Gigi, great contributor to the show. Alex Goff, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting all these guys and girls who have really contributed to the show. Missy, definitely Missy, Mrs. Lady J, forgot to mention there too. I mean, just got so much, Over the Top Radio on Friday nights. You got Ed in San Antonio. You got Cadrere producing the show. You got, their best friend Craig and so many of their friends that they bring over from, Figure 4 board, that great relationship we've had for so many years. And then you've got our relationship that we've had with VOC Nation, oh man, just so much good stuff that we've helped make a part of. I don't say this lightly when I say that Thursday night AMP really started off something in the podcast world. And, when we first thought of this, Stevie J came to me and he's like, we got to start doing podcasts, Kevin. And I'm like, what the hell is a podcast? I have no idea what this shit is, but, he got inspired, from Wrestle Crap. And he'd been involved, Stevie J had been involved for a long time with some of the other radio shows, that were definitely out there. And we somehow managed to take that to a whole new level. And there's all these great podcasts out there now, but if you still search for pro wrestling podcast on Google, we're still right there on top, baby. There's no taking that away. We do millions of hits every month. We don't do the live show business as much as we used to. And that's kind of sad. I miss that, but times change, technology change, people's needs change, and we've tried to adapt to that, pretty well. So, we're still staying on top of our game as best we can with the podcast. We're not losing any fans. We keep growing and growing and finding new people loving us for the first time all the time. And you get the archives as well. I mean, we go all the way back to 2006. It's now 2016. November 26th, 2016 will mark the end of the 10-year anniversary of Angry Marks. We'll be going into year 11 after that. So,
wow. So that Golden Turducken episode will also be a 10-year anniversary episode.
No, I don't remember when we started the Turducken. I'm wanting to say we didn't start doing that until 2009 or 10.
No, what I'm saying is that the Turducken episode this year is going to line up with the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely will. But it's not the 10-year anniversary of the Turducken. We've still got a couple of years before that.
And I've got a short list going right now of some Turducken nominees that I'd like to bring up. So definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, there was one name I wanted to drop too. Well, we're dropping names of longtime people affiliated with Angry Marks. One of the guys who's been in the chat room since like the get-go, Bionic Iguana. Shout out to you, my friend.
Yeah, Bionic Iguana, definitely shout out to you. Chess Army, shout out to you wherever you're at, sir. So many other guys, and girls who have been a part over the years. We love you all. We appreciate you all. It's been a fun ride. The ride is not over yet. I don't know how much longer we've got left in us, to be quite frank. Me and Steve, God, we are just so old. We're old and wore out. But, thank God we've got Young Bucks coming up. Well, not the
Matt
Young
and Nick
Bucks.
Jackson?
No, not the Young Bucks. They can stay gone. I don't care. If I never hear from them again, I won't shed a tear. I'm not just like Matt Bentley. I'm not sending out a search party for them either. If they want to turn up, hell, Perry Saturn eventually turned up.
Jorge Estrada, if you're listening, definitely get at us, because we don't know what happened to you, man.
Yeah, Jorge Estrada, wherever you're at, if you are listening to this podcast, give us a call. If anybody knows the location of Jorge Estrada, please call the FBI.
Get at me at Great Sudoku on Twitter, because we'd love to have him on the show and find out what's been going on in the world of Jorge Estrada lately.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to find out what's been going on with that cat. All right, I think we need to wrap this up. Anything you want to plug, Jason, before we go?
The usual stuff. Like I said, on Twitter, I'm at Great Sudoku. New Japan World, NJPWWorld.com. Best 999 yen you can spend in a month. And check out my vegan cooking blog at veggiebending.wordpress.com.
All right, so I'm going to plug everybody else. We should plug everybody else. I can't remember everybody.
Abby is at Abby A on Twitter.
And Stevie J is, of course, at Angry Marks. Stevie J keeps plugging me on Twitter. Yes, I have a Twitter account, at Camnet. I never use it. I'm just not a Twitter guy. I'm sorry. I tried for a couple years to get into it. I just couldn't. Even with the New Japan stuff, staying up at night, I know you and Abby are back and forth on Twitter with everybody, and
oh yeah,
I just can't keep up with Twitter. It just fails me. So I'm not a Twitter guy.
There's a good nucleus of about like 12 of us hardcore fans that are always there tweeting in English for the New Japan shows that are well known, and then there's kind of people who come and go on the periphery. But yeah, it's definitely a fun group to be a part of. If you're into New Japan Pro Wrestling, definitely get at us both on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more of a Facebook person. I'm a dad. What the hell? I was late to the Facebook party anyway. But, Facebook's where you usually find me at. And the easiest way to really find me is just through the Angry Marks page, Facebook.com/Angry Marks. I keep another another Facebook account. I keep that one a little bit more private, just for friends and for people I really know. You can try to drop me a strange message, but just make it really clear if you're going to try to contact me for something while you're doing it. Otherwise reach out to me through Angry Marks, especially if it's pro wrestling related or website related. And I handle all my business through there like that. I'm not really on any other social media websites except for one of the original social media websites, Iska BBS. If you really want to find me there, my name is Cam, K-A-M. You can find out more about ISCA BBS at iscabbs.com. If you're going to try to use ISCA BBS, though, you're going to have to go extra old school. You may need to do a little bit of research on some really old school technology there. You know, I'm a product of my age. 1994 is when I came on, and Telnet was where it was at. That's actually where me and Stevie J originally met. That's where me and Frank Vaughn and Danny D'Adamo, we all originally met on ISCA BBS. You know, it amazes me that ISCA BBS has survived longer than Gawker. Gawker Media has come and now will go. The Hogan leg drop of doom has finally taken them out for $140 million. And ISCA BBS and the place that we all met in there, the Theatrical and Extreme Sports Forum, is still there. Nobody's posting there these days because everything's moved over to fucking Facebook and the web, but I'm still there anyway.
But for those of you who still have a copy of Telex for DOS.
Telex for DOS. Wow, yeah. Of course, well, you don't need that anymore. Thankfully,
No, you don't need to dial modems anymore. You can just telnet through the web. But yeah, back in the day, I remember Telex and DOS.
Thankfully you don't need that anymore because Windows 10, Mac OS, they all come with a Telnet client now. So not too difficult to get that going if you really want to go on. You just got to remember we don't have any fancy pictures. We've got ASCII art there. You can definitely post some ASCII art. Usually it's just somebody showing a penis or something. But
it's no different from Instagram.
But if you want to have good discussions, if you like discussing things with fairly smart people, for the most part smart people, if you really like having good logical discussions and not a lot of bullshit, not a lot of trolls, please come check ISCA BBS out. I'd certainly appreciate it anyway. So, boy, really rambled on a lot more about that than I really needed to. But we plugged everything. So keep joining us on angrymarks.com. Keep reading our recaps. Keep listening to the podcast. Keep telling your friends about us and keep spreading the legend that is Thursday Night AMP. I am show producer Killa Kev. Thank you for joining us, and we are out of here. We will see you again next week. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.